been a tough couple hours for a friend of mine. Welcome to Drive Time on a Monday. You heard in the news from Laura about the St. Paul woman. Susie Jones did the story. The St. Paul woman who was out walking her dogs and was mowed down by a speeding, reckless, hit-and-run driver. And the victim in this story is the daughter-in-law of our general sales manager here at WCCO Radio. Sometimes real life and news collide. We are absolutely impotent to stop reckless drivers, repeat offenders, and stretches of roadway. When the people who live there reach out over and over and over and say, it's not safe, people are speeding, people are reckless, people are drag racing, and we do nothing. The number of people who get killed because of reckless drivers, whether it's a crash on the highway or a pedestrian who gets mowed down, it's unacceptable. If it were any other thing, we would be saying this is an epidemic. We need to take action. But we have sort of decided that it's just a cost of doing business. It's a cost of doing business. There's no doubt that this stuff hits different when it's someone you know. And I did not know the victim in this case. Amber Deneen, family is holding a vigil for her at 5:13, the exact time that she was killed. And when Ruth, who is my coworker, Ruth called me earlier today and she's like, I don't know what to do. We have a vigil. We are hearing from the media, and she asked me for help. And so I've been doing that, trying to tell reporters what's going on, trying to share what we know. And our newsroom will cover it. But I just wanted to talk a little bit about the human side, because I do think too often when people talk about areas being reckless or somebody being killed, sometimes these stories are often, it's someone who's walking on the highway in the middle of the night. And you're like, well, don't walk on the highway. Or we often want to blame the victim, I feel. And when Ruth is telling me about her daughter-in-law, I mean, the details of this story are heartbreaking. You've got Amber, who's 30, out there with Charles, her husband, and the two of them are walking their dogs, both of them with the dog. And they're just walking their dog right near where they live. Neighbors have complained about the fact that it's unsafe. There's drag racing, there's speeding. And this is a story, especially since COVID, I feel like it's a story that plays out. It's not just this one neighborhood, right? Plenty of you have perhaps reached out to your elected officials or reached out to law enforcement. And one of the neighbors did an interview with Channel 4 on over the weekend. And she said, we've asked the city for help. And her quote is, they just said speeding is everywhere. That was their response. And it is true. Speeding is everywhere, right? You've noticed it. You probably experience it on the highways. You may experience it in your neighborhood. And I'd love to hear from you if that's the case, if you've had that sort of similar reaction at 651-461-9226. 9226. And I'm not blaming the police. You can't be everywhere, enforcing speed everywhere. But it's rough. What do you do if you can't be walking your dogs in your own neighborhood at 5:13 in the evening, and then somebody comes speeding like a lunatic, and then not only has the absolute lack of humanity in committing the crime in the first place, but then this guy runs over and kills Amber, and then runs into her 2 dogs, too. Those 2 dogs are alive, they survive, but the dogs are in bad shape. They have major injuries. And so to think like I mean, who does this, right? Who does this? Well, you know who does it? Someone with more than 2 dozen prior arrests. And this brings to me like 2 issues that we just don't know how to deal with. We have no answers. And I don't have answers either. I don't have answers either. Because there are certain people who are just a freaking menace, who are out there. Here's a speeding. Here's a 20 miles over. Here's a reckless driving. Here's a this. Here's a that. And all of these things, yes, in the scheme of things, are quote unquote minor until they're not. And how many of us have been talking about problems in our neighborhood when it comes to reckless drivers and reckless driving? And you say, what's it going to take? Is it going to take someone being killed? And I guess it is. I guess it is. I am just gutted for Ruth and for her son, Charles, and for Amber's family. And you think, why? Why? And this isn't the only one of these stories. It's just the one that hits me because it's my coworker and my friend. And you just think like, man, Charles is there walking his dogs with Amber, and Charles is going to experience that moment. I mean, how do you stop thinking about that moment? All because somebody was so selfish and so self-absorbed that this is how they were driving. I don't know. I think about a lot of different things, right? It's the fact that our cars as vehicles are such high-tech marvels now that you can sort of unplug a bit and you feel safe, right? You got the seatbelt, you're tight in there, you got the airbags, you're in the SUV. Oh, we're all in the biggest honking car we can get because it makes us safer. And then you think like, so here's this couple walking their dog. I don't know, man. I don't know what we do. I'm not here to say like if you get, 3 speeding tickets or 5 speeding tickets that you need to be locked up for 30 years, but we just have no way to deal with these people who are a menace, who are uninterested in following the rules of society. And their crimes are not individually big enough to be like, wow, lock this guy up forever. But these individual kind of, I don't know, it's almost like a micro middle finger to the rules of society and saying, I'm above it. I don't care. I'm not going to worry myself about it. And it's infuriating. It's just infuriating. And, today it's Amber, and there'll be that vigil for her tonight. And who's it going to be tomorrow? Who's it going to be tomorrow? Let's go to Phil from Woodbury. Phil, it's good to hear from you. You're on the air.
Jay, how you doing, buddy?
Good. I'm all right.
Well, I just want to say A lot of people don't have respect for people on the road, or let's just say, it sounds stupid, but let's just say when you're shopping, because I've had plenty of people bump into me with their carts saying, come on, move it on, and I leave work 494 every day, and if you're not doing 78, 80 miles an hour, you're going to get run over. And then, if you're the one getting pulled over, how do you explain that to the cop? Well, you see that guy that was beating me, he was in my trunk. What am I supposed to do,
Yeah. Yeah.
It's crazy.
I don't know. Like, do you think that societally we're just like, we're too like in a hurry, or we're too self-absorbed, or what do you think it is?
I think people, if they're in that big of a hurry, they should have left a half hour ago.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah.
And took their time. When I get off work at 3 o'clock, I want to get home and relax, but I'm not going to do 90 miles an hour to get there.
Yeah. Yeah. I think
that's just me, though.
I think you're right. Thanks, Phil. I appreciate it. Lots of texts coming in. I'll share some of your thoughts on this. I mean, I'm sort of at a loss for what we do, because there is a reality that, these crimes, when you look someone up and say, all right, the police haven't charged this guy yet, so I'm not saying his name, but he's 39 years old. I believe he's a St. Paul resident. But you say, like, here's a guy that, I mean, once you've had like more than 24 arrests and interactions with the law, like, what are we doing? I guess. I don't know. 651-461-9226. Drive Time, back in a minute.
You're listening to Drive Time with DeRusha on News Talk 830 WCCO.
All right, Jason here. And if you are in a circumstance where you need to sell a house and you don't want to take a chance, the guaranteed route is the guaranteed cash offer with Chris Lindahl. Chris Lindahl at chrislindahl.com knows how to get you to cash money, get you to the closing time. It is the guaranteed cash offer because, I mean, when it comes to selling your house, you have no guarantees. The interest rate scenario has people, I'm in, I'm out, I can afford it, I can't, my budget is this, my budget is on and on. The expectations are so high, people want everything to be brand new, ready to go, ready to move into. And if you are not in that circumstance, a guaranteed cash offer may be perfect for you. No risk to go to chrislindahl.com. Get the process started, get a guaranteed cash offer. Chris is a Minnesotan. He's one of us. I've known Chris for a long, long time. He is generous. He is kind. He is thoughtful. He is innovative. He is a Minnesotan. You can trust him and his team to take care of your scenario. They will deal with outdated stuff. You just sell it as is. You got a basement full of junk, they'll take care of it. Offload your stress to Chris Lindahl. Guaranteed cash offer at chrislindahl.com. Get that guaranteed offer, say yes, and you could be at closing in as little as 2 days. Terms and conditions may apply.
This is the story of the one. As a custodial supervisor at a high school, he knows that during cold and flu season, germs spread fast. It's why he partners with Grainger to stay fully stocked on the products and supplies he needs, from tissues to disinfectants to floor scrubbers. All so that he can help students, staff, and teachers stay healthy and focused. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Oh no, stomach issues again?
Stomach issues?
Who are you?
Your pancreas. I could be the real reason for your diarrhea, gas, bloating, stomach pain, or loose oily stools.
I thought it was my stomach.
People often do, but any of these symptoms could mean having a condition called exocrine pancreatic insufficiency, or EPI. With EPI, the pancreas doesn't release enough enzymes to break down food, but EPI is manageable. Use the symptom checker on identifyepi.com and speak with your doctor. That's identifyepi.com. Sponsored by AbbVie.
1-877 Cars for Kids. KARS Cars for Kids. 1-877 Cars for Kids. Donate your car today. 1-877 Cars for Kids. KARS Cars for Kids. 1-877 Cars for Kids. Donate your car today.
Donate your car today at carsforkids.org. Your car, running or not, can be picked up as soon as the next day. No title, no problem. Call 877-CARS-FOR-KIDS or go online at carsforkids.org to donate today.
1-877-CARS-FOR-KIDS. KARS, Cars for Kids. 1-877-CARS-FOR-KIDS. Donate your car today.
Now accepting donations of land, homes, buildings, or any kind of real estate.
At Audion Hearing, our mission is simple: to make better hearing affordable for everyone. This Black Friday, enjoy exclusive savings on our high-quality rechargeable hearing aids. Clear, comfortable, and ready to use right out of the box. And here's a study worth hearing. Research shows that wearing hearing aids can reduce your risk of dementia by up to 61%. Join over 1 million happy customers and shop Black Friday deals before they're gone at audionhearing.com. That's AUDIEN hearing.com.
Wesley Financial Group is not a law firm, and Chuck McDowell, definitely not an attorney. This is Chuck. Do you feel stupid for buying a timeshare? Don't. It's not your fault. You were most likely told you could rent it, and it was a great financial investment. And the deal was available today only. If this happened to you, contact your resort or Wesley Financial Group for help today.
Call Wesley now for your free exit information kit. 800-242-3131. 800-242-3131.
You're listening to Drive Time with DeRusha
This is so cool, people. It's so cool.
on News Talk 830 WCCO.
My mama always said I would regret it if I ever got a tattoo.
You know, we had another one of these cases, a Tesla driver who was going 100 miles an hour at 2 a.m. This was in St. Paul. This was last Wednesday. And this guy slammed into a 31-year-old who was in a small SUV, in a Toyota RAV4. He was on his way to work as a baker early in the morning. So you got that guy going 100 miles an hour, exiting the highway onto it's out of control. Reckless driving is out of control. We are so self-absorbed. And I don't know, we don't consider the possibility that our driving could kill someone. Teresa's in Roseville. Teresa, thanks for listening. Thanks for calling in. You're on the air. Go ahead.
Hey, Jason, love your show in the afternoon.
Thank you.
You know, driving is a privilege, and I think people forget that. It's not a right. It's not an automatic. And if it should be taken away if the circumstances warrant it. But I also wonder, what's the percentage of people out there driving that don't have a license or have already had theirs revoked?
Revoked, right.
And somehow they still manage to get keys and drive a car.
Yeah, that is the hard thing, right? When you revoke someone's license, you're sort of counting on them to honor their punishment. And that doesn't happen. The person who's been arrested 20 times for reckless driving is not going to voluntarily just stop driving. Texters saying the same politicians who go soft on criminals have no regard here either. Too many dangerous drivers who should not be driving. Time for major crackdown, including prison for the worst. You got to do something. Another texter, speeding and distracted driving is horrible and unforgivable. Minnesotans also would be served to learn the correct way is to walk on the left, facing oncoming traffic. This doesn't seem to be universally known. Yeah, I think that's true also. In this case, police are saying that Amber Deneen and her husband, Charles, that they were in a crosswalk. So they were hitting a crosswalk when they were crossing the road with their dogs. Like, you got to, especially now as the sun is setting earlier, you know, at 5:13, it is dark. And you as a driver, it's on you. It is on you. Texters, 3 strikes, you're out. Couple texters saying death penalty for the careless driver of this vehicle with a history. I get that. I get that feeling. I don't know that is. I don't know. That's where that's not where I personally want to be. But you can kill someone with a car and get sentenced to 2 or 3 years in prison because our judicial system treats you as, well, as doing something different than if you shot someone and killed them. And I'm not entirely sure that the way we treat these sorts of crimes is correct. Our judicial system says a 651er often operates as if driving is a constitutional right. Punishment should ramp up to the point where 10 violations is the limit. I do wonder about that, right? Is that a better way to go? Where at a certain point you say, all right, you're not getting the picture. You're not getting the message. And so we're gonna have a real consequence. We're gonna have real consequence. The other side of this that's frustrating is for neighbors, right? And the story that's in the Pioneer Press right now by Mara Gottfried has the headline, "Shouldn't have happened." St. Paul neighbors worried about safety in an area where driver fatally struck woman. And in this story, and we'll learn more about this at the vigil tonight, but one of the neighbors says what happened on Thursday was our biggest fear and something we had long worried about in the neighborhood. Because it is near Interstate 94 and near University Avenue, and you have people who treat certain parts of our community like it is a freeway. And I hope, I don't know, for me, obviously this hits home because it's a coworker's family member, but these stories happen all the time. I mean, there were 2 of these last week. 2 of these last week. Texter says we should all take a moment to reassess our driving habits after hearing the heartbreaking news about Amber and her family. I always take extra care driving home after work through neighborhoods this time of year when daylight savings happens because people are out walking their dogs and it is so dark out. Jason, this is interesting. With today's technology, cars could be made to only start as long as the driver's license has been inserted into the correct slot of the car. I don't know, like that, I think that's intriguing. I think that's intriguing where you would say, this has, Dan, often been my theory when it comes to texting and driving, that you look at the technology that we have available and say, like, can't we can, my car knows if I'm walking up to the door, like the key proximity knows, like, are there ways that technology could be deployed that could be a help in this circumstance?
Well, I mean, if we can do an ignition interlock system for people who've done repeat drunk driving offenses, then there's got to be some way you could do something like what they're talking about.
Yeah.
So
I don't know.
Because like I said, relying on people to just say, oh, I respect the law and I'm not going to drive anymore. Doesn't work.
No.
Throwing them in prison for, your prisons are going to be overflowing.
Your prisons are going to be overflowing. You are going to keep maybe the worst of the worst off.
Maybe.
But how long are you going to put? I mean, at a certain point, like the reality of this has to come into play where you say, okay, if you get 6 reckless drivings, like how long are we supposed to lock you up? You lock somebody up for 20 years for that? I mean,
start building a new prison right now.
Yeah. If you ask me right now, I would tell you yes. But if you ask me when the emotion has subsided, I don't know. 3:32. We're running a little late. In just a minute of a conversation that I cannot wait to have that goes into this question of screens for our kids at school. Remember the idea that we're going to give every kid a Chromebook. It's failed. We'll talk to a professor who explains why in just a minute here on Drive Time.
This is Drive Time with DeRusha on News Talk 830 WCCO.
November is all about gathering, Friendsgiving, Thanksgiving, and football weekends. Total Wine & More has wines, beers, and spirits to make every moment special. You'll always find what you love and love what you find, only at Total Wine & More. Spirits not sold in Virginia and North Carolina. Drink responsibly. Be 21.
Confidence is knowing you're ready to handle whatever comes your way. That's what it feels like to take on your workday with Cintas. They make sure your AEDs are up to date, your fire extinguishers are tested and inspected, your floor mats are cleaned and delivered. and your workwear looks good, feels good, and is freshly laundered with the Cintas Apparel Plus program. So are you ready to take on today? Visit Cintas.com.
Oh, I'm ready!
And get ready for the workday.
Staples presents an easy holiday.
Running a small business during the holidays is hard.
No truer words were.
But this year, Staples helped me have an easy holiday.
Your script has a typo.
Nope, easy peasy. I just ordered online at staples.com and picked up in store. And with UPS on site, shipping was easy too. Plus, huge savings on tech, custom cards, even my holiday sale signage.
Visit your local Staples store or staples.com today for up to 45% off select laptops.
That was easy.
Ends 12/27.
Great work doesn't happen by accident. It happens in the right environment. At iSpace Environments, we bring together office furniture, architectural walls, and integrated technology to create spaces that help people work better, feel better, and connect more easily. We're a 100% employee-owned company built on the potential of partnership to help organizations create environments that look and perform beautifully. Whether you're an architect shaping a vision, a project manager juggling timelines, or a business leader reimagining your workplace, we make the process easy, seamless, and even enjoyable. From early planning to final installation and support beyond, we take ownership of the details that matter most, because at iSpace, your success is our success. Visit iSpaceEnvironments.com to discover how our partnership can help your people feel better, work better, and connect better.
Hey, it's Benita, inviting WCCO listeners to join me and my husband on a sunny Spain and Portugal tour, April 28th to May 8th. Our journey begins in Lisbon with a guided tour, followed by a visit to Sintra's colorful Pena Palace. Next, we'll wander the medieval streets of Evora before crossing into Spain to explore magnificent Gothic cathedrals. In Toledo, we'll discover the city's unique blend of Christian, Jewish, and Muslim cultures. Then travel to Madrid for a guided city tour that includes the Royal Palace. Finally, we'll hop on a train to Barcelona, where we will explore its world-famous architecture and coastal charm. Visit holidayvacations.com, keyword WCCO Radio, to request a brochure, watch a travel show, and book this tour. They sell out fast. Would love it if you could come with us to Spain and Portugal.
The Canopy Group invites you to join them for the WCCO 23rd Annual Interrupt Homelessness Radiothon, Tuesday, November 18th. $2.82 provides a meal and care for those served by the Union Gospel Mission Twin Cities. Donate online at ugmtc.org/give now.
Time to find out how it's moving on the roads and what's moving in via the skies. This is traffic and weather together on CCO, starting with a check of the commute.
Bring joy to every family. Donate now at SalvationArmyNorth.org. 169 northbound has moved past Cedar Lake Road. Got an injury crash working. It's blocking both traffic lanes. Traffic using the right shoulder to make its way past the scene. Get ready for your slowdowns as you come up from Highway 7. South 100, seeing some slowing there. 394 as you head down to Minnetonka Boulevard. 94 westbound slows through Minneapolis, Cedar Avenue to the Lower Hill Tunnel. This holiday season, thousands of Minnesota families are struggling just to get by. You can help by donating to the Salvation Army. Your gift will provide comfort, hope, and joy to local families. Donate now at SalvationArmyNorth.org. Jerry Peterson, News Talk 830 WCCO.
Hungry? Go to Dickey's Barbecue Pit of Egan for real Texas barbecue. All meats smoked fresh in-house daily. You can dine in, take out, have it delivered, or have your event catered anywhere in the metro. Just go to Dickeys.com. Dickey's Barbecue Pit of Egan, the Twin Cities catering leader.
Now, the latest conditions and the outlook for the next few days with your CCO forecast.
All right, the forecast brought to you by Dickey's Barbecue Pit of Egan. Here is Chief Meteorologist Captain Snow, Chris Schaefer.
A little snow talk. We'll have some light rain showers moving in later on tonight. It will cool enough that we'll see a transition over to snow. 32 the overnight low. Best chance of seeing an inch or two of slushy accumulation would be across southern Minnesota, perhaps reaching as close as the southern suburbs. Decreasing clouds during the day tomorrow with a high of 40. That'll keep the roads clear. 45 on Wednesday, maybe a few rain showers Thursday with a high up near 50.
Right now, it is pretty typical for this time of year, 41 degrees in St. Paul on CCO.
You're listening to Drive Time with DeRusha.
It's good for our brains. It's good for our economies. And it's so good.
On News Talk 830 WCCO.
We as parents understand that cell phones and smartphones in our kids' hands in school means they're not paying attention. You know how you are in a meeting at work when you're holding your cell phone. How do you think your kids are? Worse. But our next guest says these bans on smartphones in our schools, it's really only the first step. So excited to talk to Jean Twenge, who has just published a book called 10 Rules for Raising Kids in a High-Tech World. This weekend, she had an opinion piece in the New York Times that I just thought was fascinating. It's entitled The Screen That Ate Your Child's Education. And Jean Twenge is with us on the John Schuster Coldwell Banker Hotline right now. Jean, it's good to visit with you.
Thanks for having me on.
I know you have a Minnesota connection, so we love someone who's one of us. You grew up here in your screen-free adolescent years, right?
So I'm originally from Winona, and my family is from the middle of the state, Sauk Center area, Melrose, and Wilmer.
Awesome. Now, you probably grew up like I did with I remember our first computer, but it certainly wasn't. The Texas Instruments 99.4A was not going to be hauled to school. In school, we went to school, we paid attention, and we read and we listened, and that was it. You have found what any parent knows or suspects, I think, that kids have so many distractions and so many screens, and it's not just their phones in school.
That's the real challenge now in middle schools and high schools, even a lot of elementary grades. Children are given a tablet or a laptop by the school. And that can, at least seems like it might be good for keeping up with assignments and doing things at home. But the problem is they're very distracting. They're not just locked down to, say, the Canvas page for the class or Google Docs. Instead, many of them have access to YouTube. Many of them have access to streaming services. And then they bring them home. Their parents can't put parental controls on them. It's, Mom, I'm doing my homework. And they're watching Disney Plus or they're watching YouTube for hours on end. Because exactly like you said, how can we expect kids to focus on their homework while all of these distractions when that's so difficult for adults?
I was wrong about this. Like, I remember when my kids got their Chromebook and I thought, this is perfect. Like, in the real world, kids need to learn how to use technology. Teachers are going to come up with cool ways with their interactive whiteboards to have these lessons that are going to have kids researching. And how did we go wrong? Because the promise of this, at least on if you're like a pro technology person, seemed good. Like, it seemed good.
Yeah, there's a lot of things that have happened that way, particularly in education, where it seems like a great idea in theory, and then in practice, it doesn't turn out so well. I think there's a couple things going on here. One is, I think we didn't go into these technologies with a deep understanding of how the brain works, especially among adolescents for learning, because there's a bunch of studies now showing that, for example, students who take notes on paper through handwriting absorb the information better than if they're typing. And some of that's due to distraction, and some of that's just due to the way the brain works, that there's something in writing things out that helps people remember it and process it on a deeper level.
Oh, I used to make fun of my wife back when we were dating in college. Some of our dates, and I'm not kidding, were her recopying her notes in her notebook. But it was how it sort of locked it in. She was right.
Absolutely. I mean, there's a bunch of studies on this now. Yep. And I think that distraction piece is the other problem, because if kids were using these laptops just to do educational things, it would work out a lot better. But kids find workarounds. That's problem one. Problem two is, and I'm a parent of 3 teenagers myself. I know
so
this,
you know this, yep.
hard experience, that they're not locked down. One of the reasons I wrote this op-ed is my 13-year-old, 8th grader, turns out she was watching a show on Disney Plus on the school laptop. I'm like, why is that not blocked in the school laptop?
Right,
How hard can that be to block streaming services?
Why isn't it blocked?
Exactly. And I have no idea. And I haven't been able to get any answers out of the school about why that. And she told me the other day, oh, everybody's doing that. Everybody's watching Disney Plus on their laptop.
Yep.
Because of course they are.
Yeah, it's understandable, right? And I think the ultimate evidence here is the fact that the test scores suck. I mean, there's no, if this worked, if there were benefit to every kid having a screen or every kid having a Chromebook, that sort of a deal, we would see some benefits, but I haven't seen it.
No, and it's not showing up in the test scores either. So the National Assessment of Educational Progress is kind of the gold standard here. And those scores have been rising. Things have been getting better in terms of students learning from the 70s to the 80s to the 90s, the 2000s. And then at the beginning of the 2010s, just when these technologies started to come in, those scores started to drop. And this has happened around the world too. It's not even just the US. Scores in Western Europe, way down. Same pattern.
So interesting because it's easy, I think, and we're talking with Dr. Jean Twenge, who is a psychiatry professor at psychology, big difference. Psychology professor at San Diego State University. The book that is just out is called 10 Rules for Raising Kids in a High-Tech World. And it's easy to blame this on social media. I think originally I thought, I think social media is the problem. Kids are distracted. They're seeing notifications, they're getting text, they're getting email, whatever. If we take that away, they'll be fine. But not the case, just not the case because those Chromebooks are just another screen.
Yeah, and there are a lot of problems. Social media is not good either. I think what we're really seeing is two big things happening. Social media is having a really negative effect on mental health, and that doesn't help with academic performance either. And then you're seeing the rise of platforms also like TikTok, and that compromises attention span. And then we have the Chromebooks where that's what you're supposed to be doing your homework on, and they're not locked down, and there's so many distractions on them. And parents are virtually powerless because we can't put parental controls on a school-issued device.
Right. Right. It's locked down in any way that would be meaningful to a parent, but not locked down in any way to stop kids from screwing around all day.
Exactly. And they don't shut down at night because my kids' personal devices, I have the controls on them.
Yeah.
So about a half hour before bedtime, it shuts down. You can't do that with a school laptop. So they could not only be watching streaming services, they could be doing it at 2 a.m. unless you're sleeping in the same room as your kids, and who wants to do that?
Gene, I was talking with a friend today who sends his kids to a school that has no laptops, has no screens. And he said that he's like, it's been a godsend, an unbelievable situation because those kids are paying attention. They're paying attention.
Mm-hmm.
What can we do as a parent to try to, we've had some success policy-wise getting the schools to back off on smartphones and to ban smartphones. How is there any shot at this when it comes to sort of the laptop for every kid experiment?
I think so. I think more schools are starting to rethink this. I think, we rushed into it without having the data, and now we've got the data and we've had it for a little bit here. So that's the next frontier, is for policymakers and researchers and educators and parents to try to get rid of the Chromebooks.
Yeah.
Get back to the textbooks and the pencil and paper and kids actually paying attention. Look, kids have always doodled in their notebook and passed notes to each other and stuff, but that just pales in comparison to digital distractions.
Your book, which is called 10 Rules for Raising Kids in a High-Tech World, Dr. Jean Twenge is with us. This is the hot topic among my millennial parent friends. My kids are off at college now. I've sort of, my ability to control their anything is pretty much out the window now. But when you're in the zone that you're in, this is the topic. You talk about no social media until kids are 16, which is one of my parenting regrets. I wish I had instituted that policy. What are some of the other things that you think parents should think about?
Yeah. So one thing that's worked really well for us as a family is not giving a internet-enabled smartphone really young, because when you do that, then they may be on social media and you never know.
Yeah.
At the age of 11 or 12. And there's also just so many other temptations on phones, and then they have it in their pocket and it's with them everywhere, and it's not a device that you're going to be, seeing what they're doing. So one of the rules is to give your kids basic phones as a first phone. And that used to mean a flip phone, but now there's a bunch of phones designed for kids. So like Pinwheel, TrueMe, Bark, Gab, and most of them do not allow any social media at all. They don't allow AI companion apps like AI boyfriends and girlfriends, which is really good because that's the next big concern with our children. And most of them don't have.
Well, I think we just lost Jean Twenge. But I think you get the picture. She was probably on a landline. I hope so, if you're talking about this. I don't know, really good information. We're just going to leave it there. And maybe we'll visit again to talk about some of these lessons in her book. But the book, you can buy it now. It's called 10 Rules for Raising Kids in a High-Tech World. And you can find that opinion piece in the New York Times, the screen that ate your child's education. I think a lot of parents feel this. It would be back to the notebook is what we want to do for sure. The data is there. It's not just old man yelling at cloud. It is data that shows this experiment has not worked. It is 3:50. Back in just a minute on Drive Time with DeRusha.
This is Drive Time with DeRusha on News Talk 830 WCCO.
All right, this Friday, I'm going to be in a fashion show. How about this? I know. You're like, we've gotten that desperate for models. We're going to DeRusha for the fashion show. It's a fundraiser for the U of M's Children's Hospital. M Health Fairview Masonic Children's Hospital. And I'm so tickled that my friends at J.H. & Sons are taking part. It's Jason for J.H. & Sons at the Galleria in Edina, premium men's clothing right in the heart of the Midwest. The team over there is incredible. I was just there on Friday visiting with the J.H. of J.H. & Sons, Jeff Halberstadt. He is, man, this guy. So the Halberstadts started in St. Cloud. It was Jeff's dad who started that 50 plus years ago, making men look fantastic, feel confident, have the best tailored suits in town. And Jeff and I were talking. I'm like, why are you still working? You're opening store after store. They're in Kansas City soon. They're in Des Moines. They're in Sioux Falls. They're at the Galleria in Edina. He's like, I'm going to keep working as long as it's fun. And he's having fun because he's transforming lives, giving people an experience of having incredible service at a great price. Premium men's clothing. This is the good stuff. It's stuff that's going to last. In a society that values the throwaway, you should throw that away. Go to J.H. & Sons. You can sign up for their email listserv at jhandsons.com.
Hi, this is Adam Saba, third generation at Dodge of Burnsville. As a business owner, you need commercial vehicles with the power you need, room for your gear, and service you can count on. Let me introduce you to Business Link at Dodge of Burnsville. We offer a full line of Ram trucks from half tons to 5500s and a full line of Ram commercial vans. And we'll come to you on the job. Nobody sells more commercial Ram trucks than Dodge of Burnsville. That's why we are the King of Ram, just off Cliff Road and 35W or kingofram.com.
You're listening to Leaf Filter Radio, and the guru of gutter protection himself, Chris Cunahan, is here to take your most pressing leaf-related questions and bring you a special Black Friday offer.
Hey, everybody, Chris here. I understand we have Ron on the line. Ron, where are you calling from?
Uh-oh.
Ron, are you calling from a ladder?
Well, I was. I wanted to ask Chris what I need to do to get my gutters ready to have leaf filter installed.
Oh, Ron, you don't have to do anything. A Leaf Filter Trusted Pro will come out and clean out your gutters, realign and seal your gutters, and install Leaf Filter, America's #1 gutter protection system.
So I didn't need to get on this ladder?
Ron, Leaf Filter Trusted Pros are in your neighborhood and ready to help. Just visit leaffilter.com/radio to schedule your free gutter inspection and get up to 30% off.
Thank goodness. What was that site?
That's leaffilter.com/radio. And now, as a special Black Friday offer, you can get a free gutter inspection plus up to 35% off. This is our best offer of the season. Unlock it now at leaffilter.com/radio. See representative for warranty details.
Woke radical liberals are screwing up this country. But Congressman Tom Emmer is fighting back. He backed one big, beautiful tax cut for working families, ending Social Security taxes for nearly all seniors, and taxes on tips and overtime gone. So call Congressman Tom Emmer at 202-225-2331 and thank him for backing working family tax cuts and putting America first. Paid for by American Prosperity Alliance.
We all hear the radio ads about the IRS. They tell you to be afraid, to be scared, and they try to frighten you into calling. I'm not here to do that. Tax Relief Advocates is different. TRA is here to tell you that if you owe money to the IRS, whether it's $5,000, $50,000, or $500,000, we have a solution. It doesn't matter if you're sitting in your car, at work, or with your kids. No matter where you are, call now. 800-575-9834. Don't lose hope. TRA can eliminate or reduce what you owe to the IRS. Generous programs are now available that can give you a fresh start. Our passion is taxes and helping individuals fix their IRS problems. We have over 1,000 5-star reviews on Google and an A+ with the Better Business Bureau. You don't need to be afraid of the IRS any longer. End your tax nightmare today by visiting us online at TRA.com or call 800-575-9834. That's 800-575-9834. Tax Relief Advocates. Real solutions for real people.
Time to find out how it's moving on the roads and what's moving in via the skies. This is traffic and weather together on CCO, starting with a check of the commute.
Crash north 169, Cedar Lake Road has been cleared. Still the slowdowns though from Highway 7 as you head up toward Highway 55, 494 northbound. Watching slowing there as make up between Highway 62 heading up to 394. Highway 65 northbound, 99th Ave. Got a crash working there. Left lane shut down at this point. Traffic is jammed up in the area. Jerry Peterson, News Talk 830 WCCO.
No one knows Twin Cities businesses like locals. With decades of experience here in the Twin Cities, Robert Half connects skilled professionals in finance, technology, admin, and more. Visit roberthalf.com/Twin Cities.
Now, the latest conditions and the outlook for the next few days with your CCO forecast.
All right, CCO forecast brought to you by Robert Half at roberthalf.com/Twin Cities. We do have a winter weather advisory in several of the counties to the south of the metro tonight. I am seeing rain already way south of the Twin Cities, sort of in the Iowa area. Some of this is what will be headed north, mixing with and changing to snow, low of 32. Tomorrow, 40, Wednesday, 45. So south of the metro. Maybe 1 to 3 inches of snow, a little slushy, a little messy. We're going to get skunked if you are north of the Twin Cities. Right now it is 41 on CCO.
This is News Talk 830 WCCO. Broadcasting live from the 2026 IIHF World Junior Championship Studio. Single game tickets are on sale now at worldjuniorsmn26.com.
All right, sorry that phone dropped during that conversation there. But pretty interesting stuff about screens. I mean, I was really struck by what Dr. Twangy said about those things that sound good and then are not. I was really optimistic about the benefits of screens. And there are some benefits to them, right? The fact that you can do school from home when you have a snow day, that's cool. But day in, day out, get out what happened to the 19-cent spiral notebook at Target, right? I mean, that sometimes old school works.
It's now $5.
Well, we'll talk about that. Affordability at the top of the hour.
We've all seen those cash offers for your home billboards along the way. We've all gotten the emails. They're easy to take, but even if you're desperate to sell your home quickly, Let my friend John Schuster help you first. It's Vanita here. He's going to make sure you walk away with more money. Now, the Good Neighbor agent was a great neighbor for Karen when she was ready to downsize. Here's the deal, though. She was going to 2 other real estate agents before she went to the Schuster Group. After 131 days with the first 2, she didn't get a single offer. She worked with John and his marketing system, and it only took John 2 weeks to find her a buyer willing to pay full asking price. Karen says she felt like her house was invisible with the first 2 agents. Here's the deal. You can find out how much your home is worth and work with the Schuster Group. Type in your address on johnschustergroup.com.
Buy a home, sell a home, we'll get you moving. johnschustergroup.com.
Terms and conditions may apply. We all hear the radio ads about the IRS. They tell you to be afraid, to be scared, and they try to frighten you into calling. I'm not here to do that. Tax Relief Advocates is different. TRA is here to tell you that if you owe money to the IRS, whether it's $5,000, $50,000, or $500,000, we have a solution. It doesn't matter if you're sitting in your car, at work, or with your kids. No matter where you are, call now. 800-575-9834. Don't lose hope. TRA can eliminate or reduce what you owe to the IRS. Generous programs are now available that can give you a fresh start. Our passion is taxes and helping individuals fix their IRS problems. We have over 1,000 5-star reviews on Google and an A+ with the Better Business Bureau. You don't need to be afraid of the IRS any longer. End your tax nightmare today by visiting us online at TRA.com or call 800-575-9834. That's 800-575-9834. Tax Relief Advocates, real solutions for real people.
At Wealth Enhancement, we believe wealth is in the details. Our team of trusted advisors craft personalized solutions to help you achieve your financial goals. Tune in to the Your Money Show on Newstalk 830 WCCO every Sunday from 8 to 9 a.m. or go to wealthenhancement.com to connect with one of our advisors.
Minnesota's #1 for the latest breaking news. Newstalk 830 WCCO 1029 HD2 Minneapolis, St. Paul. Streaming live on the free Odyssey app.
This is CBS News on the Hour, sponsored by Progressive Insurance.
I'm Cammie McCormick. Some major developments in the criminal case against former FBI Director James Comey. The federal judge is questioning what he called a disturbing pattern of missteps before the grand jury. CBS's Scott McFarland.
This is a rare thing, a federal judge ordering grand jury materials handed over to a criminal defendant. But in a 24-page ruling, the judge explained his rationale, saying there's concerns about how the grand jury was conducted, some gaps in time between the handing over of the materials and the handing back of the indictment.
The interim U.S. attorney who filed the charges was a former White House aide with no prosecutorial experience. The acting chief of FEMA resigned today after criticism over the agency's handling of the deadly floods in Texas back in July. David Richardson had only been on the job a few months. CBS's Chanel Call reports.
More than 130 people lost their lives during those floods. And Richardson himself was pretty sharply criticized because people said that he was inaccessible during the early moments of that crisis.
That complicated efforts to deploy search and rescue teams. President Trump was asked today about his decision to now urge House Republicans to approve the release of all of the Jeffrey Epstein files.
What I just don't want Epstein to do is detract from the great success of the Republican Party, including the fact that the Democrats are totally blamed for the shutdown.
CBS's Caitlin Huey-Burns on Capitol Hill.
What you're going to see tomorrow is a lot of Republicans signing on to this because this is something that they all wanted, before Trump took office. The question is what the Senate does, because before Trump's comments over the weekend encouraging people to vote for it, the Senate had no appetite to take this up.
Trump said he would sign it if the Senate does pass the bill. More than 130 people were arrested in Charlotte, North Carolina during the administration's latest immigration crackdown. Camilo Montoya Galvez reports New Orleans could be next.
It could start as soon as the operation in Charlotte concludes. And so the administration is planning to continue to expand immigration enforcement across the country.
President Trump said he's willing to talk with Venezuela's President Maduro. CBS's Charlie D'Agata is in Puerto Rico.
There are now 12 or 13 warships currently in this region, what the military calls Southern Command area of responsibility. And that gives the president options. And now the president says with all of that military military hardware in place. He's willing to talk to the leadership of Venezuela and President Nicolas Maduro himself.
Trump also said today he'd be okay with anti-drug strikes inside Mexico. This is CBS News.
Sponsored by Progressive Insurance. Take the next step forward in your career with great benefits and an award-winning workplace. Apply at careers.progressive.com.
Minnesota's trusted voice. Every hour, let's get you caught up with what's happening now on News Talk 830 WCCO.
Cloudy, 41 degrees at 4:03. I'm Laura Oakes. A vigil is planned next hour at the site of last week's fatal hit and run in St. Paul. 30-year-old Amber Deneen was struck while in a crosswalk at the intersection of St. Anthony Avenue and Aldine Street by an SUV that fled the scene. The 39-year-old male driver with a history of driving convictions was arrested and is being held in the Ramsey County Jail. He is expected to be charged with criminal vehicular homicide. The vigil is at 5:13, the same time Deneen was hit. Family members say she was walking her dogs with her husband near her home. The dogs also were hit and injured. It is the end of the line for Minneapolis-based healthcare nonprofit UCare.
UCare was founded over 40 years ago, providing services to more than 300,000 members throughout Minnesota and western Wisconsin. But after suffering financial losses, the company announced that those patients will transfer to Medica. Medica Vice President of Communications, Keely Breno.
We want to honor the legacy both of UCare and of Medica, and I think that it is a great story for Minnesotans to, again, preserve coverage with a nonprofit health plan committed to the community.
As far as layoffs?
We are closely assessing the talent at UCare, and we'll be working closely with UCare's leadership to bring some of their employees over to support this now very large book of business that we're bringing over.
Susie Jones, News Talk 830 WCCO.
Just ahead of a very busy week, MSP Airport food service workers are threatening to go on strike on Thanksgiving.
Local 17 has been in negotiations with HMS hosts at the airport for 11 months. We have more work to do on key items such as wages, paid time off for tipped workers, tipping, and health care for our members and their families.
Union spokesman Shay Friedberg says the contract expired nearly a year ago. He says this is the first time ever that food workers have threatened to strike at the airport. Advocates for Minnesota's LGBTQ community are signaling their priorities for the upcoming legislative session and bracing for continued political headwinds.
We do expect that anti-LGBTQ legislation will be a messaging priority for opponents of equality. We have a lot of folks who are running for higher office in Minnesota, and they may use the legislative session as a sort of campaign opportunity.
Outfront Minnesota Executive Director Kat Rohn says while many anti-LGBTQ changes at the federal level involving things like gender identity on passports can be disheartening, they've had a number of recent state legislative victories they're hoping to build upon next session. St. Paul Mayor-elect Kali Herr's official resignation from the Minnesota House takes effect at midnight tonight. She has represented neighborhoods along Summit Avenue as well as parts of McAllister Groveland and Merriam Park since 2019. She'll be sworn in as mayor in January. And another couple of Minnesota lawmakers are saying the 2026 legislative session will be their last.
Rich Straheim and Steve Swadzinski were both first elected to the state Senate in 2016. Today, they both announced that they would not seek re-election. Senator Straheim is a Republican from Madison Lake, while Swadzinski is a DFLer from Chanhassen. Straheim says he believes in term limits and that now is the time to give others the opportunity to serve in St. Paul. Senator Swadzinski says he'll use his final year to listen and learn from his constituents. Steve Simpson, News Talk 830 WCCO.
And WCCO News Time is 4:06.
Time to find out how it's moving on the roads and what's moving in via the skies. This is traffic and weather together on CCO, starting with a check of the commute.
This holiday season, make sure everyone can fill their plates. Donate today at twoharvest.org/give. Got the crash working. Highway 65 northbound 99th Avenue. Left lane is shut down. Traffic is jammed up in the stretch. 10 westbound slows. Egret hop to Hanson Boulevard. West 94 slows past 494 and Maple Grove. And got your congestion in place. 490 South 169 from 494 heading down to Old Shockley Road. Update has been brought to you by Second Harvest Heartland. 1 in 5 Minnesota families can't afford the food they need, but this holiday you can come together as one of Minnesota's family to help. Donate now at twoharvest.org/give. Jerry Peterson, News Talk 830 WCCO. WCCO.
Hungry? Go to Dickey's Barbecue Pit of Egan for real Texas barbecue. All meats smoked fresh in-house daily. You can dine in, take out, have it delivered, or have your event catered anywhere in the metro. Just go to Dickeys.com. Dickey's Barbecue Pit of Egan, the Twin Cities catering leader.
Now, the latest conditions and the outlook for the next few days with your CCO forecast.
Brought to you by Dickey's Barbecue Pit of Egan, the Twin Cities catering leader. Find them at Dickeys.com. Here's WCCO TV Chief Meteorologist Chris Schaefer.
Light rain showers will move in tonight, and as we cool to 32, we'll see a transition over to light snow. Now, the best chance of accumulation across southern Minnesota, where 1 to 2 inches could stack up mainly in the grassy areas, but could create some slick spots for the morning commute tomorrow. Clouds clear out tomorrow, a high of 40 up to 45 Wednesday, upper 40s on Thursday.
Cloudy right now, 41 at News Talk 830 WCCO.
Your significant other calls it too much radio. We call it loyalty. News Talk 830 WCCO. Good questions. Topics you'll probably talk about at dinner. Places to go for dinner. This is the Ride Home Reimagined. Welcome to Drive Time with DeRusha. Now, here's Jason DeRusha.
Affordability. Man, count on politicians to come up with a buzzword that's going to drive you nuts, right? You are going to hear affordability rammed down your throat until you don't know what to do with it. My question to you is, what in your life do you wish was more affordable? 651-461-9226. Because we're going to have a lot of discussion about affordability, and I want to know where you're at. What is it that hurts? What is it that hurts when you think about affordability? Washington Post today has a story about how housing affordability is what Democrats are likely to be spending a lot of energy talking about in the next campaign cycle. And it is, I mean, to me, some of this is very obvious, right? If you look at the number one thing, I'll be curious what you guys say at 651-461-9226. But to me, the number one affordability, the number one issue is housing. And when I think about housing and why it's not affordable, well, it's a complicated issue, but I think especially here in Minnesota, we don't have enough housing. We don't have enough. And as a society, it's interesting that Democrats are going to be the ones going down this road, because to me, the reality is the reason that we don't have more housing is because it's 8 million regulations about you got to do this, you got to do that, you have to do this, you have to have that approval, you have to do this, that, and 8 million public hearings, and everybody doesn't want it, and I don't want this, and you know. Everybody wants affordable housing, but nobody wants it in their backyard. Everybody wants affordable housing, but we also want 8,000 rules that say you got to do this, and you have to have a 2-car garage, and you have to have this kind of a setback, and you have to have that. I mean, I put a deck on my house. I'm not kidding. We had 3 inspections from the city. To build a deck, I had to submit architectural drawings. I get an architect. It's a deck. I wasn't going to land a helicopter on the thing. Oh, and it was a deck on an existing deck. So we were tearing down a deck and building a new deck. There were already footings in the ground, concrete in the ground that we were going to use again. But no, we had gosh, I can't imagine why we're not building more houses. Interesting text coming in. What people are saying is the affordability issue for them. Housing and health insurance along with groceries. Another texter says health insurance. Another texter says dining out. My HOA dues. Well, unpack that. Why do you think HOA dues are so expensive? And, it depends on your perspective if you think this is a good thing or a bad thing. But part of why those HOA dues, if you're in a condo, are so expensive is because there's state regulations that require how much money to be held in reserve if you have to replace the roof or do tuck pointing or do any sort of major thing. And so a lot of your HOA dues are going to reserves, which, as always, like you hate. Like no one likes putting money in a rainy day fund until that rainy day arrives, right? But that is the main driver. At least that's what I've read and been told about the Minnesota when it comes to HOA. Texter says, I would say housing is a huge problem, but as we get older, I think it's medical things that could be so expensive. Yeah. Another texter says it's automobiles. Housing is not the number one issue because at least you have the opportunity of that appreciating. Automobiles is number one. Yeah, I mean, isn't the average price of a new car in America right now over $50,000? It's expensive. But why are cars expensive? Is it because we insist on all the bells and whistles? Like we don't want just the base car anymore. We want all the stuff. And everybody wants big old SUVs. I want a sedan. I like a sedan. I like a four-door, closer to the ground sedan. And I feel like I'm surrounded by semi-trucks everywhere. It's just you guys in your giant SUVs and trucks. Vehicles is a big one. Insurance. Let's go to Kevin. Kevin's in his car on the CCO Talking text line. Kevin, when you think of affordability, it's going to be the big buzzword in every national campaign, probably the governor's campaign. It'll be a big issue here in Minnesota. What do you think is too expensive?
I think the number one thing that's too expensive is government. The last time I looked, federal, city, county, and state government was consuming over 60% of this economy.
What do you think is the holdup? Because I have seen both political parties talk about reducing expenses, and nobody really does it. Nobody does it.
Well, they use their money to give themselves power. We're going to take your money, and if you do what we like, we'll give you some of it back. You got 80,000 people who work at Health and Human Services who accomplish absolutely nothing. Their salaries alone are over $6 billion. And do what? To push paperwork in Washington, D.C. And if you do what they want, they'll give you some of your money back to feed your local population.
Yeah. Thanks, Kevin. I think when it comes to cutting the cost of government, we have to be willing to give up things that are good, right? Like this is the issue. Objectively, many of the things that government is doing, they're all like, I mean, assuming they work, right? You're saying like, oh, some things are fraud, blah, 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 blah. But the bottom line is most of this stuff, you're like, yeah, that sounds like a noble thing. That's a good thing. But I see a lack of willingness to focus in on what is the core requirements and then trying to figure out, all right, I mean, the reality is to a certain degree, government has become a bit of a jobs program, right? So what are you going to do with all the people that are going to get laid off and this money that you save? So you do think about it that way, right? If you cut government in half and lay off hundreds of thousands of people around America, well, now all those people are going to be on social services programs. So have you really done anything? I don't know. It's a trick. I do think it's a trickier problem. There's a reason that no party has really been able to get their arms around it, Dan.
Or has any desire to, because for that very reason, I mean, how do you propose solutions to that problem in a way that's going to make people think that you're an appealing leader?
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, to go back to what some of the textures were saying,
these are very good texts, like all the different things.
Yeah.
Everybody has sort of different affordability
challenges. And that's, I guess, my point, right, is that you see all of these different things that people are labeling as, affordability problems. And now you know why affordability is now a buzzword, right? Because it's all these different things in our lives that we're going, wait, no, this costs too much. This costs too much. This costs too much. And what's fascinating to me is that the last two administrations are both making the exact same mistake. And it's kind of shocking, being that they're, obviously opposing parties. But you recall when President Biden in his administration was trying to tell us, no, the economy is actually really good. All the data, here's all the data. Look at all the data. And people are going to the grocery store and saying, my grocery budget just doubled. What are you talking about? I don't care about your data. Look at the price of eggs. Look at the price of this. Look at, this is insane. And now you've got President Trump who's insisting, no, all the prices are down. All the prices are down. No, they're not.
No.
No, they're not. And he can say that all he wants, and I get it. But when you ignore people's lived reality for political theater, that costs you. It costs, the Democrats, and it's going to cost the Republicans if they keep doing this nonsense.
Well, we saw it with crime too, right? This idea that you're like,
exactly.
well, look at the data, and people were like,
that's great, but my car window just got smashed out, or my car just got stolen, or my friend just got carjacked. Forget your data.
Yeah, we don't have to honor people's incorrect opinions, but we do have to honor people's experience when they're saying, like, life is expensive. And the reality is, right now, the Trump administration has, if you get inflation down to 2%, 3%, that's good. But in my life, that's 3% inflation on top of 8 or 9% inflation on top of, it's just up and up and up and up. It all is up. Benjamin on YouTube says it right. Everything is too expensive. Jeff is in Sauk Rapids. Jeff, you're on the air. What's too expensive for you?
Well, what I was going to talk about was the politicians that are talking about affordability. They're blowing smoke up our skirt. Yeah. They can't control any of this. High, wide, and happy lending back in the early 2000s qualified everybody to buy a house. Next thing you know, they're underwater. Next thing you know, the housing bubble burst. Then the contractors started going out of business after they were paying blood money for tracts of land to build houses they thought they were going to sell. Automotive, what are you going to do about that? You're going to tell Ford how much to charge for a truck?
That's right.
I don't think you are.
Right.
No, you're not.
That's right.
No,
you're exactly right. I think I saw a post on Twitter where someone was saying affordability is the easiest thing to campaign on and the hardest thing to govern on, because you have almost no control over it in government.
It's an absolute myth. In a free market, it's a myth. Yeah. We'll just talk about insurance. Homeowners insurance, automobile insurance. If you have a mortgage, you're required to have one.
Right.
If it's an automobile, you're required to have the other. And they got you by the short curlies. Government's going to do what?
Yeah.
Somehow regulate the insurance industry?
Right.
It's an absolute myth. And anybody dumb enough to vote for a candidate that rides on affordability, God help you. That's all I can say.
Jeff, thank you. Jeff, with the rare twofer there, where we were blowing smoke up our skirts and they had us by the short curlies. That is, you want to talk affordability, you guys are getting that for free on Drive Time with DeRusha.
You're listening to Drive Time with DeRusha. Video streaming live on YouTube and always on your radio at News Talk 830 WCCO.
Why wait for Give to the Max Day? You can help end veteran homelessness right now. At MacV, they've been serving Minnesota veterans for more than 30 years. And today, your gift will be doubled thanks to Matching Partners Oil Air products. That means twice the impact, helping veterans secure homes, jobs, and health care. Go to mac-v.org and donate now. That's mac-v.org for your neighbor, for your neighborhood, for Minnesota.
Hi, Denny Long here. Join us every Saturday for the Home Improvement Show by Lindis Construction. Andy Lindis and I will be taking your home improvement questions both by phone and by text every Saturday morning at 9 o'clock here on News Talk 830 WCCO.
Jordana here for my friends at Mini Leaf. Hear what they're saying about this brand I love.
Tell me about your experience with the night gummies.
I started using them. I think this was my third order. I heard Jordana on WCCO Radio talking about it, and I thought, well, if she's doing it, trying to get off the Ambien, and I started with the pineapple gummies for sleep. That's what I take them for, is sleep. And I've been very pleased with the product. I started with the full gummy. Now I only take take half, and that helps me sleep. So I'm very happy with the product, and I'm 70 years old. So,
And those sleep night gummies will help her sleep painlessly through the night. Those sleep night gummies are a real charm. Check out Mini Leaf's products at MINNELEAF.com. Check out that Triple Diamond Pain Cream, those sleep night gummies, or their other great products. I use them. There's so many CCOers that absolutely love them. You will too.
Mini Leaf means quality. Taste happy at minileaf.com.
The home of Minnesota's best legal products.
Woke radical liberals are screwing up this country. But Congressman Tom Emmer is fighting back. He backed one big, beautiful tax cut for working families, ending Social Security taxes for nearly all seniors, and taxes on tips and overtime gone. So call Congressman Tom Emmer at 202-225-2331 and thank him for backing working family tax cuts and putting America first. Paid for by American Prosperity Alliance.
My name is Whitney Allen. I'm a widow. My husband, Ryan, died. We never thought in a million years we'd have to use life insurance. The unexpected happened. With Ethos, it is so fast and easy. It's 100% online. You can get a quote in seconds, apply in minutes, and get same-day coverage. No medical exams, and you can get up to $3 million worth of coverage through Ethos.
Get your free quote at ethos.com/radio. That's ethos.com/radio.
Time spent on application may vary. Online health questions required.
Are you tired of online threats? Then get an antivirus. It's the only online protection you will ever need.
Disclaimer: an antivirus is just half protection online. It will not protect you from snoopers or encrypt your online traffic. So this Black Friday, get better online protection with NordVPN. NordVPN will encrypt your traffic, protect you from malware and phishing, and stop annoying ads. Get the NordVPN Black Friday deal with 73% off and enjoy 3 extra months.
You're listening to Drive Time with DeRusha. Video streaming live on YouTube and always, and I mean always, on your radio at News Talk 830 WCCO.
I mean, there are things that government can do to deal with affordability. I do not think there's much that government can do to make the cost of our groceries less, right? I mean, Donald Trump, when he ran for president, this is what he was talking about. And to the surprise of no one who knows anything about economics, the tariffs have, shocker, have not lowered prices. I mean, it's just not how that works. Nor has it allowed us suddenly to just, buy a bunch of American avocados or something. Like, that's just not. The economy is bigger than, I mean, we're a global economy, and it just doesn't quite work like that. I do think with housing, though, there are things that government could do to make it easier, to make things make sense. I mean, I have a friend who is a multi-unit developer. He does apartment complexes, and he's on hold in Minneapolis and St. Paul and Minnesota. Just generally, he's on hold because it doesn't pencil out the cost of labor, the cost of materials. Tariffs do impact the cost of a lot of those materials. But then there also are, some bigger issues around permitting and regulation and all of that. That just makes it doesn't pencil out. It doesn't make sense. And if developers are not willing, if they're only willing to build luxury, then we don't get anywhere. We don't solve anything. And from my friends in the housing industry in Minnesota, it is difficult to build a house that's a $300,000 house right now. It just, with the regulations and the cost of everything, it just doesn't work. And so we're stuck. We're stuck when housing is such a big issue out there, and there's nothing we can really do about it. Why is it that the cost of our beef has skyrocketed 3 times what its original price was just a few years back, says a texter. We did a segment on that with a beef expert last week, which you can find if you just search, DeRusha podcast, beef, give it a go. But it's on the Drive Time with DeRusha podcast. You're amused by that? I don't, what is going on over there, Cook? Unclear. But in that segment, the conversation was about the fact that beef and you got all sorts of problems with the supply of beef. We don't have enough ranchers out there. We don't have enough heads of cattle. And it takes a couple of years, right? Like you don't just squirt out a cow. Okay. And that, by the way, that's a technical term. That's a technical term. But it's an issue, right? Beef is tough. Part of the affordability problem is perceived need versus actual need, says the texter. Well, this is the magic. This is why I want to echo Dan's thoughts, because every politician out there is going to start talking about affordability. And I urge you to do this. Drill down on them and ask what they specifically will do to address that issue. Because we are about to be bathed in unprecedented amounts of BS from politicians. Because if their polling indicates that affordability resonates, because we all hate paying more for stuff, and our salaries haven't kept up. So they're going to tell us, they're going to promise us the world. But okay, and then what? What are you going to do? That's what we have to drill down on. Don't just accept it, because it's going to be a lot of nonsense. Insurance. A lot of comments on insurance. You know, and insurance is one of those classic examples, right? Where here in Minnesota, we have a tremendous amount of hail. State policies have changed where they've loosened up some of the regulations. It used to be, and I know this because we had hail damage on the side of our house. Well, no, we had lightning. So lightning hit my house, and the insurance company had to replace the siding all the way around the house. And they had to replace the whole roof because that was the law in Minnesota at the time. Today, you have to replace whatever that plane is. So if the east side of your house got damaged, you got to replace the whole side, but you don't have to do the whole house. So, but then you're annoyed if you don't get the whole house replaced. And how many of you guys have sat there praying for some hail so you could get a new roof? So I don't know, like it's a difficult situation. It is for sure. We're going to break in just a minute. I'm very excited to talk with our next guest about, well, a book that for me was a little surprising. Mitch Pearlstein founded a conservative think tank called the Center for the American Experiment, but his latest book is about hiring ex-cons. Interesting. This is something I think is a major opportunity for our country and our economy. The second chance hiring economy. Excited to hear what Mitch has to say when he joins us in a minute here on CCO.
You're listening to Drive Time with DeRusha on News Talk 830 WCCO. You've seen the encampments on the news. Now you've driven by those on street corners with cardboard signs. You've wondered what you can do. Well, tomorrow is your chance. Help us in Union Gospel Mission Twin Cities interrupt homelessness as we broadcast all day long to raise funds and awareness for everything the UGMTC does. No one should go hungry, especially at Thanksgiving and Christmas. And just $2.82 provides a meal and care for someone in need. So make plans to join us and give. The Interrupt Homelessness Radiothon, presented by iSpace Environments, Linda's Construction, the Canopy Group, and Comcast.
Mike Lyncher inviting you to join my lovely wife, Kathy, and me on a fabulous holiday vacations, Canadian Cascades, Niagara Falls to Montreal tour, June 14th through the 23rd. Our adventure begins in Niagara Falls. Revel in experiencing the falls multiple ways with Niagara Park's Journey Behind the Falls, Whitewater Walk, a thrilling cruise through Niagara Gorge, and more. Head north to Niagara-on-the-Lake, where we'll enjoy lunch with spectacular wine at Wayne Gretzky Estates. Travel to Toronto for a tour, including the famous CN Tower, then relax on a 1,000 Islands cruise down the St. Lawrence River. In Ottawa, explore Parliament Hill, and then delight in an entertaining dinner show. old Canada, eh? Our getaway concludes in Montreal with a visit to the authentic Sugar Shack. Want you to visit holidayvacations.com. Keyword WCCO Radio. Request a brochure, watch a travel show, and book this tour. Kathy and I would love to have you along.
At Advent, we help sleep apnea sufferers avoid the CPAP machine. We know when we get the nose and throat working properly, most snoring and sleep apnea problems will subside. Our unique Advent approach using simple, ultra-effective in-office solutions can do just that. And that's why people have traveled by planes, trains, and automobiles from corners of the world you would never think of to find the sleep apnea and snoring relief you won't find elsewhere.
Go to adventknows.com to schedule your appointment.
AdventKnows.com.
Most insurance accepted.
Swapping out your tires? There's nothing like it. With eBay, you find the feel you're looking for. From smooth highway rides to grip for rough terrain. Get all the tires you need at prices you'll love. eBay. Things people love.
Tomorrow, you can help change a life.
Last winter, I was homeless and I'd lost all hope. My idea of a place to get warm and get a meal was to get drunk enough to get put into detox. And one day, a couple people from Union Gospel Mission came over and held the AA class there. Yeah, the meals helped me to get back on my feet and have a solid foundation. It's one less thing I have to worry about. I can concentrate on getting myself better, getting myself back into to be employable, to actually have plans for a future and hope for a future. I didn't have that before.
$2.82 provides one meal and care at Union Gospel Mission Twin Cities. How many meals and care can you provide? Please donate online at ugmtc.org/give, because hope begins with a meal.
Great work doesn't happen by accident. It happens in the right environment. At iSpace Environments, we bring together office furniture, architectural walls, and integrated technology to create spaces that help people work better, feel better, and connect more easily. We're a 100% employee-owned company built on the potential of partnership to help organizations create environments that look and perform beautifully. Whether you're an architect shaping a vision, a project manager juggling timelines, or a business leader reimagining your workplace, we make the process easy, seamless, and even enjoyable. From early planning to final installation and support beyond, we take ownership of the details that matter most. Because at iSpace, your success is our success. Visit iSpaceEnvironments.com to discover how our partnership can help your people feel better, work better, and connect better.
The Canopy Group invites you to join them for the WCCO 23rd Annual Interrupt Homelessness Radiothon, Tuesday, November 18th. $2.82 provides a meal and care for those served by the Union Gospel Mission Twin Cities. Donate online at ugmtc.org/give now.
Time to find out how it's moving on the roads and what's moving in via the skies. This is traffic and weather together on CCO, starting with a check of the commute.
Crash cleared for Highway 65 northbound 99th Ave, but you're going to find the stoplight congestion in play as you travel either direction. 10 westbound slowing, Egret to Hanson, 494 northbound, watching some slowdowns there as you come up from Bass Lake Road toward 494. East 94 slows into the midway as you make way between Franklin Avenue and Snelling. Jerry Peterson, News Talk 830 WCCO.
Now, the latest conditions and the outlook for the next few days with your CCO forecast.
All right, we are watching for a chance of snow coming to southern Minnesota. That sort of wet, slushy stuff. Here's Chris Schaefer.
A little snow talk. We'll have some light rain showers moving in later on tonight. It will cool enough that we'll see a transition over to snow. 32 the overnight low. Best chance of seeing an inch or two of slushy accumulation to be across southern Minnesota, perhaps reaching as close as the southern suburbs. Decreasing clouds during the day tomorrow with a high of 40. That'll keep the roads clear. 45 on Wednesday, maybe a few rain showers Thursday with a high up near 50.
Right now, it is cloudy, 42 degrees in Minneapolis on CCO.
Jason DeRusha.
You're a renaissance man of the media.
A lot of people have been saying that.
A lot of people.
A lot of buzz.
On News Talk 830 WCCO.
I think today a lot of us understand that we weren't all wrong back in the day when our criminal justice system was maybe a little more focused on punishment than rehabilitation. But part of locking people up for misdeeds involves a little bit of a contract on the tail end of that, I think. And one of the issues that I struggle with is the fact that we have made it so easy with online job applications, with online background checks for apartments, to take people who have spent their time, paid their dues, and are genuinely committed to turning their lives around. Man, we make it hard. We make it hard. And Mitch Pearlstein wrote a book called Second Chance Hiring because, and Mitch joins us in studio today, and he's going to tell us why. But Mitch, so many people are released from prison and from jail every year. And is my thesis right that we really do make this very, very difficult for people to get back on their feet?
We do, and good to see you, Jason.
It's good to see you.
It's
been a while, yeah.
Number of years. The subtitle of the book is an economic and ethical necessity. The economic part is we need people working in this country.
That's right.
Real simple. And the ethical part, and I heard your comment before expressing some surprise that the founder of a conservative think tank would be doing this. Well, conservatives, as much as anybody else, have ethical concerns. And if someone has paid their debt, it is a good thing to help them get on with their lives.
Why do you think it's so difficult for so many to get their arms around that other side of the equation?
People don't necessarily have warm fuzzies
Yeah.
about people who have spent time in prison. Frankly, I don't necessarily have warm fuzzies about people who spend time in prison. They're concerned about crime.
Yeah.
I heard you talking before about crime. Actual crime data could be up. It could be down. It really doesn't matter because people are always concerned about crime. There's a variety of factors involved.
Second Chance Hiring takes a look at really, I had not fully thought about this from an economic perspective before, but especially when I think about our state where we have a shortage of workers. We
Right.
just do. And especially one of my frustrations with Minnesota is that I don't think there's enough conversation about growth. What are we doing to attract new businesses, attract new jobs?
Correct.
Well, if I'm Tesla, there's no way in hell that I'm going to build a plant here because I don't have enough workers. Is the second chance workforce, is that something that we could unlock? And how do you propose we unlock that, especially here in Minnesota?
Well, it would help if people would recognize that we really do need more people working. It's a bit complicated now. Writing a book is a lengthy exercise, but it's also a lengthy exercise from the time you send in the manuscript to the time the publisher publishes it. And in my instance, this time it was about 11 months. And when I wrote, we had in this country a situation where there were more open jobs than people looking for jobs. I write the book and all of a sudden it's the opposite. But you have to have confidence in the economy that once again, we will have real growth. And if someone, talking very generally now,
of course,
really wants a job, one can go find a job. And we need these people. Frankly, our getting technical, our replacement rate for babies in this country is something like 1.67.
Right.
If we are to keep our population steady in terms of numbers, we have to have women on average making 2.1 babies. We're not even close. So we need people working. And if we want to get into it, one of the ways that we have been doing it and will continue doing it is immigration. I'm not talking about illegal immigration now. Absolutely not. I'm talking about legal immigration. And we have to get that straight. We have to understand that this is important. We have too many people speaking out against legal immigration right now.
Yeah. Do you think that's, I think that concern about immigration writ large, not just illegal,
right,
is often dismissed as being racist. I tend to think it's more fear-based that, like, you're gonna lose your job, that if there's more competition. I don't know. What's your analysis?
I've done a lot of writing about race, and I am always really reluctant to talk about a racist impulse unless I'm certain there's a racist impulse. I think in addition to people thinking that they're going to lose their jobs, it is a cultural thing. We are
This
American.
isn't our way of life.
That is right. We are Americans. Forgetting for a moment that we have brought in so many people from different parts of the world, different cultures, and it hasn't taken them necessarily too terribly long, 2 generations, maybe 3, to fully acculturate into our culture. So it's fear, and it's, I would argue that just about all these kinds of fears are understandable.
They are.
But we have to overcome them.
It's critical, or we stagnate or fail.
About the best book I know on this subject, even better than mine, is written by a banker who has done a great deal of work in this area. And he says a nation that is not growing, that is growing stagnant, is always on the edge of recession, does not have the optimism that we need to truly grow. We need people. It's real simple.
Mitch Pearlstein is with us. He founded Center of the American Experiment and is the author of the book, Second Chance Hiring. One of the things in this book that you do that is maybe different than some of the writing about this is that you do acknowledge and engage with the employer concern, right? Because I do know a number of employers, restaurant owners, especially because I cover that sector, who make it a practice to hire people with criminal records who have committed to turning their lives around. My friend Josh Hedquist, who owns OG Zaza.
I know Josh, yeah.
That has been a cornerstone. But you know what? It is hard. It's hard. His commitment to doing that is, yes, I think it's good for his business, but it also is maybe more work than hiring someone without a criminal record.
The way I put it, it is hard generally, and it's not like hiring an Eagle Scout, but at the same time, on the ethical end, it's a good thing to do. But many of these people who come out of prison and get a job eventually, finally, prove to be more loyal than other employees because they know how tough it is out there if they try to change jobs.
What do you think is the biggest obstacle to this? Is it a will? Is it a will by employers? A willingness to say, like, you know what? Is it the moral side of it, or is it the mental health challenges, the recidivism fears? What?
All of the above. When I started writing, and I'm on the board of a reentry program, a very good one, the Redemption Project. My assumption was when I started writing this at least 3 years ago, was that second chance hiring needed a very strong argument, advocacy, defense. What I learned working on the book, no, the argument is essentially one. You don't hear people talking against it very much, if at all. The trick now is implementation. A boss can say, this is what we're going to do, but if the director of human resources doesn't want to do it or is lukewarm, it's not necessarily going to happen. We need a strong implementation.
And that's systems, that's dedication, that's training, that's all of that for the workplace.
It is that, and it's.
Do they need incentives? Do they need, or is this a fully sort of private sector initiative?
I'm talking about the private sector, and there's some incentives out there. But I think more compelling is that these businesses, as I've been saying over and over, need people. And there is data to show. I hate when someone says there is data.
Well, there's always data. There's
always data.
Yes.
That CEOs and directors of human resources believe that people who have been in prison are just as good when it comes to their employment as anybody else, to the extent of something like 80%. Now, at the same time, I think there is more talk than action, which one could describe as a kind of hypocrisy. Sure, but this is complicated stuff, and we are making progress.
Mitch Pearlstein is with us. Second Chance Hiring, an Economic and Ethical Necessity is the name of the book. One of the things I think about in this area, in this discussion, is the fact that as Americans, we like to think of ourselves as people who forgive, but in reality, we are not a forgiving people. It is easier to hang on to anger for that one thing someone did 20 years ago than it is to forgive. I don't know if today we are as forgiving as we think we are.
That might be the case.
I have no data.
No data.
I have
All
no
right.
data.
I'll make up some.
This is full anecdote on my part.
I think that we are more forgiving than you are suggesting. Let's think about people in public life who have done bad things. They go on the mountaintop for 3 years. They apologize. They come back, and they are forgiven.
But those are people like us. We see ourselves in them. We don't see ourselves in the shoes of the person who shot someone.
The person who, how about this? And I'm about the only one I know who talks about this. A person with acres of tattoos on him.
The neck tattoo, yes. You see it and you judge.
And
I've been guilty.
I think that is one of the great disincentives for a person to hire another person. And I'm just about the only one who writes about that. And getting these jobs is indeed difficult, but people do eventually get them.
Yeah.
I was fascinated when I was writing, and if I was working on it at Starbucks or someplace, and someone would ask, "What are you doing?" And I said, "I'm writing a book about second chance hiring." And on a couple of occasions, they just lit up in a good way. They were so happy I was doing that. They were so impressed. They view this as a good thing. Now, whether or not people do it in their actual lives is another matter.
Yeah.
I don't think we're as selfish as you may be suggesting, but as with everything else, it's complicated.
Right. Really important conversation, and it is challenging, but making an economic case for doing something that is right is pretty intriguing. So I'm so glad that you came in and talked about it. Mitch Pearlstein is the author of Second Chance Hiring. You can pick it up on Amazon. You can get it also at you're doing an event tomorrow, right, at Interlochen Country Club.
Right, American Experiment. We're doing a luncheon.
Nice.
And you could also order it through Bloomsbury, the publisher.
Great.
And you can find it.
You can find it.
Please find it.
Please. Mitch Pearlstein, good to visit with you. Thanks
Thank
for coming
you.
in.
Good to see you, Jason.
It's 4:50. We'll break. We'll get you updated on the snow chance for tonight in just a minute.
You're listening to Drive Time with DeRusha on News Talk 830 WCCO.
All right, it's Jason here with a question for you. Do you know what you're doing for dinner tonight? How about this weekend? How about Minnesota pork? 3,000 family pork farmers all over this state. Look, do you want farming to be a part of Minnesota's future? Then you got to support it. You got to step up and go to your grocery store, go to your butcher shop. And it's an easy sell because when you taste what pork can do, that, by the way, is the name of the website, tastewhatporkcando.com. Oh, you're going to be a convert. No doubt about it. Bacon is just the beginning. Everybody loves bacon. Why wouldn't you? It's a great way to start your morning. A little bacon and eggs, nothing wrong with that. But that is just where the conversation gets started. What I would encourage you to do as you get through another busy week of trucking your kids around from one event to the next is think about easy dinners that you can make in about 20 minutes. No huge prep. And you can find recipe ideas at tastewhatporkcando.com. My go-to is a pork tenderloin. Almost every grocery store or butcher shop has it already pre-marinated. You take that pork tenderloin, throw that bad boy in the oven. 20 minutes later, you're good to go. Delicious, flavorful, lean, high in protein. You're packed with energy, and you're doing something good to help out Minnesota farmers. Tastewhatporkcando.com, but go to your butcher store, go to your grocery store, and let's have Minnesota pork for dinner tonight.
Actual price will depend on product and subscription plan. Featured products are compounded drug products, which the FDA does not approve or verify for safety, effectiveness, or quality. Prescription products require an online consultation with a healthcare provider who will determine if appropriate. See website for details, restrictions, and important safety information.
Want a boost in and out of the bedroom? Hims has you covered. Introducing a new 2-in-1 approach to level up your game. Tadalafil for better bedroom performance and zinc for testosterone support. Put it all together and you've got what you need to turn things all the way up. Getting started is simple. Just go to hims.com/joy to start your free online visit. Through Hims, you can access ED treatments, including pills, chews, and more, 100% online. No office visits, no pharmacy lines. Just fill out a simple intake form and a licensed medical provider will determine if treatment's right for you. If prescribed, it ships free and discreetly to your door. Find affordable treatment options at up to 95% less than brand names at hims.com/joy. That's hims.com/joy, HIMS.com/JOY.
You could think you found your dream home online. The kitchen island looks perfect for your inner chef. The backyard, a paradise for your green thumb. And that extra room, hello walk-in closet. But here's the twist. The lot next door just got rezoned for years of construction. And this sound, yeah, you're going to be hearing a lot of that. Don't let your dream home turn into a nightmare. Work with the expertise and ethical training of a Realtor, here to guide and help protect you from the surprises you didn't see coming. Realtors are members of the National Association of Realtors, right by you.
Okay, I have to tell you, I was just looking on eBay where I go for all kinds of things I love, and there it was.
That hologram trading card. One of the rarest, the last one I needed for my set. Shiny like the
designer handbag of my dreams. One of a kind. eBay had it, and now everyone's asking, ooh, where'd you get your
windshield wipers? eBay has all the parts that fit my car. No more annoying, just beautiful.
Millions of finds, each with a story. eBay, things people love.
Imagine placing an investment or trade without fear. Knowing that big institutions have taken the same trade as you, pushing the price higher, which only they can do. You get to ride the wave of institutional demand. If not, your plan will protect you from the downside. This is how our students are taught to invest in trade. Right now, you can sign up for a free investing class where we'll outline our strategy for following the smart money. Text investing to 210-210. We'll also review strategies for growing a retirement portfolio, how professionals profit when stocks are falling, and how to protect your investments against inflation. With a 25-year history, local classrooms, and one-on-one support, you're not alone. And now it's your turn. Sign up for a free investing class today. Text investing to 210-210 or go to learnwithota.com.
Time to find out how it's moving on the roads and what's moving in via the skies. This is traffic and weather together on CCO, starting with a check of the commute.
Things are slow for 694 westbound. You move past Highway 10, heading out toward Highway 100. West 94 slows into Minneapolis as you make way past Riverside. South 35W, some minor slowdowns across the Minnesota River Bridge. West 94 slows between Hemlock Lane and Weaver Lake Road. Jerry Peterson, News Talk 830 WCCO.
No one knows Twin Cities businesses like locals. With decades of experience here in the Twin Cities, Robert Half connects skilled professionals in finance, technology, admin, and more. Visit roberthalf.com/Twin Cities.
Now, the latest conditions and the outlook for the next few days with your CCO forecast.
Are we finally going to get snow? Maybe. Forecast from Chris Schaefer. We are under a winter weather advisory in several counties to the south of the metro area tonight. Taking a look at live radar, there is some rain down in Iowa that will be moving towards us. That's already creeping into Minnesota. Faribault, it's raining there. That rain will become snow in the south metro, low at 32. Tomorrow, 40, Wednesday, 45. Best chance, we're looking at 1 to 3 inches south of the metro and across parts of southern Minnesota. Right now, it is a lovely 41 degrees on CCO.
This is News Talk 830 WCCO. Broadcasting live from the 2026 IIHF World Junior Championship Studio. Single game tickets are on sale now at worldjuniorsmn26.com.
We thank the Minneapolis Club. As you know, I'm a member at the Minneapolis Club right up the street. Good people, good stuff, beautiful building, open the public. So this holiday season, if you're coming downtown to go shop the Christmas markets over at Dayton's that just opened last week, stop over for dinner or stopping at the bar at Charlie's. That part is open to the public. The rest, it's mine. Just, join the club or get out. That's what I say. I'm in the club and you're not, Cook. I mean, this is just how life works.
Yeah, somehow I'm going to have to sleep tonight. I'm not quite sure how I'm going to figure
Life's
that out.
not always fair.
It's really not. It's really not.
Everybody can't. Well, anybody can be in the club. You just have to join. You just join. That's how you do it. We're going to break. We're going to do DeRusha Hour news headlines. Lots of good stuff coming up in our next hour, so don't go anywhere.
Sometimes the best thing we can do at WCCO is shut up and let our listeners do the talking.
You guys at CCO, I love how you reach out into the community and you can affect tangible change. What you guys do for the Union Gospel Mission, what you did for this National Bone Marrow Donor Program. I so appreciate you. And I want more and more people to introduce their kids to radio. We cannot let this go. It's free. It's accessible for everyone. Because I'll tell you what, Spotify, they're not going to build a park down the street from your house. iTunes is not going to raise money. We have got to start supporting radio stations.
This isn't an ad. It's a thank you.
I support you guys. I've got my insurance through the Canopy Group. I met with Matt Gutman to create an estate plan this summer. I take this kid to Stretch Lab, and I just dropped off a title yesterday for my second car donation at Newgate School. I love it. I love the city, and I love you guys. Thanks for doing what you do.
You're the reason we do what we do. News Talk 830 WCCO.
We all hear the radio ads about the IRS. They tell you to be afraid, to be scared, and they try to frighten you into calling. I'm not here to do that. Tax Relief Advocates is different. TRA is here to tell you that if you owe money to the IRS, whether it's $5,000, $50,000, or $500,000, we have a solution. It doesn't matter if you're sitting in your car, at work, or with your kids. No matter where you are, call now. 800-575-9834. Don't lose hope. TRA can eliminate or reduce what you owe to the IRS. Generous programs are now available that can give you a fresh start. Our passion is taxes and helping individuals fix their IRS problems. We have over 1,000 5-star reviews on Google and an A+ with the Better Business Bureau. You don't need to be afraid of the IRS any longer. End your tax nightmare today by visiting us online at TRA.com or call 800-575-9834. That's 800-575-9834. Tax Relief Advocates. Real solutions for real people.
Anytime is tune-up time with Apollo Heating, Air, and Plumbing. For only $59, get your furnace ready for another rough Minnesota winter. Go to callapollo.com and schedule your tune-up today. That's callapollo.com.
The microphone at the center of Minnesota's news. News Talk 830 WCCO, KMNV HD2, Minneapolis, St. Paul. Always streaming on the free Odyssey app.
This is CBS News on the Hour, sponsored by O'Reilly Auto Parts.
I'm Cammie McCormick. A federal judge has lashed out at the Justice Department and its prosecution of former FBI Director James Comey, describing what the judge said was a disturbing pattern of missteps in seeking the indictment. CBS's Scott McFarland.
James Comey has denied wrongdoing and pleaded not guilty to making a false statement to Congress. What the judge has done here has ordered the grand jury materials be handed over to Comey's defense team. That is a rare thing, but the judge in a 24-page ruling says he has concerns about how the grand jury was conducted, some of the operations of the prosecutor, and gaps in time between the presentation of the evidence and the return of the grand jury indictment.
That prosecutor, a former White House aide, had been appointed just days before. The acting chief of FEMA has resigned.
I'm Peter King. Critics felt David Richardson had a credibility problem from the start. In one meeting with colleagues, he said he wasn't aware that the U.S. has an Atlantic hurricane season. Early on, he told employees that he alone would speak for the agency. When Texas was hit with deadly flooding in July, several FEMA officials told CBS News they were unable to reach him, and as a result, FEMA was delayed in deploying search and rescue teams.
Jeffrey Epstein survivors released a public service announcement today.
It's time to bring the secrets out of the shadows. It's time to shine a light into the darkness.
And President Trump was asked about his decision, calling on House Republicans to demand the release of the Epstein files.
We've done a great job, and I hate to see that deflect from the great job we've done. So I'm all for it. You know, we've already given 50,000 pages.
More than 130 people were arrested in the latest immigration crackdown, this time in Charlotte, North Carolina. Camila Montoya Galvez reports.
New Orleans appears to be the next target of the Trump administration's crackdown on illegal immigration. Border Patrol is preparing to send as many as 200 federal agents to New Orleans to arrest people they suspect are in the country illegally.
Vicky Barker reports Britain has begun a crackdown on migration.
British Home Secretary Shabana Mahmood announcing
the most significant reform to our migration system in modern times,
including fast-track deportations of asylum seekers convicted of crimes or of migrants who arrive illegally, returning some asylum seekers to their home countries if those countries are later deemed safe, and making others wait 20 years to apply for permanent residence here.
Pop legend Paul McCartney will release a silent music track next month as part of a silent album to protest UK copyright law changes benefiting AI companies that would be free to use an artist's work. This is CBS News.
Think O'Reilly Auto Parts for all your car care needs. Get the parts and service you need fast from the professional parts people at O'Reilly Auto Parts.
Minnesota's trusted voice every hour. Let's get you caught up with what's happening now on News Talk 830 WCCO.
Cloudy, 40 degrees at 5:03. I'm Laura Oakes. A memorial and vigil this hour at the site of a deadly hit and run at St. Anthony Avenue and Aldine Streets in St. Paul.
Signs along the road saying, slow down. Someone was killed here. That someone, 30-year-old Amber Deneen, who was struck while walking in this crosswalk. A 39-year-old man is facing charges. The vigil at 5:13 today, the same time Deneen was hit. Her family telling us that Amber was a talented artist, a lover of all animals, and was enchanted with life and a light to all who knew her. Neighbors here say they have been demanding action on this dangerous road for some time.
That's WCCO's Susie Jones. Some news today affecting a major health insurance provider in Minnesota. UCare announcing it is shutting down. The nonprofit primarily provides health care coverage for seniors and low-income Minnesotans. The company says the roughly 300,000 people receiving benefits will have their coverage transferred to Minnetonka-based nonprofit Medica. Medica Vice President of Communications, Keely Breno.
So there is nothing for members to do today. We're committed to ensuring that there's a seamless transition, and people that have UCare coverage or have signed up in 2026 for UCare coverage, there is nothing to do today, and nothing will change.
She says they are assessing right now if layoffs will be part of the deal. Just ahead of the holiday travel rush, food service workers at MSP Airport are threatening to walk off the job.
Workers at over a dozen restaurants and convenience stores at the airport say they will strike starting Thanksgiving Day if they don't receive an offer for higher wages from travel dining company HSM Host. The Unite Here Local 17 members say this follows nearly a year of prolonged contract negotiations. One MSP worker, Victor, says he has to work 2 jobs to supplement his income.
Both jobs combined, they're not enough to meet the bills and everything.
If workers walk off the job, it could severely impact the travel experience at the major travel hub, which has been ranked as the nation's best airport 2 years in a row. At MSP Airport, I'm Taylor Rivera, News Talk 830 WCCO.
Lobbyists and leaders in the state's LGBTQ community giving a status update today on federal changes affecting their rights and outlining their priorities for the upcoming Minnesota legislative session. Outfront Minnesota Executive Director Kat Rohn.
We do hope we can pass a couple pieces of policy, but they're probably going to be small just because of the current dynamics. More importantly, it's important that we build the work for 2027 and beyond.
And Governor Tim Walz leading a delegation in Germany and Switzerland this week to help boost Minnesota exports and encourage business investment. The trip is focusing on medical technology, renewable energy, higher education, and agriculture. WCCO News Time is 5:06.
Time to find out how it's moving on the roads and what's moving in via the skies. This is traffic and weather together on CCO, starting with a check of the commute.
Some slowing for Highway 100, both directions between 394 and Excelsior Boulevard. South 169, got your slowdowns in place coming down from Anderson Lakes Parkway, heading down to Highway 101. 494 moving rather decently. You will find some congestion as you make way eastbound between Penn and Lindale. 494 northbound, watching some slowdowns there, making way toward Highway 7, heading up to County Road 6. Jerry Peterson, News Talk 830 WCCO.
I'm Mary Jo Copeland. Sharing and Caring Hands has been helping people in need for 41 years, thanks to your generosity. To learn more, to donate, go to sharingandcaringhands.org. Make a difference in the lives of others and give hope to the children. May God bless you all.
Now, the latest conditions and the outlook for the next few days with your CCO forecast.
Brought to you by Sharing and Caring Hands. Here's WCCO TV Chief Meteorologist Chris Schaefer.
Light rain showers will move in tonight, and as we cool to 32, we'll see a transition over to light snow. Now, the best chance of accumulation across southern Minnesota, where 1 to 2 inches could stack up mainly in the grassy areas, but could create some slick spots for the morning commute tomorrow. Clouds clear out tomorrow, a high of 40 up to 45 Wednesday, upper 40s on Thursday.
Cloudy right now, 40 degrees at News Talk 830 WCCO.
Minnesota made, Minnesota minded. News Talk 830 WCCO. He knows news. He knows talk. He knows nonsense too. So get ready for a lot of each. This is Drive Time with DeRusha. Once again, here's Jason DeRusha.
Well, last noon, I guess, it was a day game. It was my first time at US Bank Stadium to watch a Vikings game. And full disclosure, I was there because Medtronic brought me out. So I just want to disclose that. But look at who they hooked me up with, Dan. And you have these moments, and I was talking to somebody who worked for Medtronic about how life sometimes brings you like crazy things that when you were a kid, you'd be like, no way I'm going to have a 20-minute conversation with two NFL Hall of Famers. But yesterday I got to hang out with Mike Singletary, which he was my John Randall. Mike Singletary, the Monsters of the Midway, the 85 Chicago Bears, the menacing man in the middle. Now, Mike Singletary now is like a zen, skinny, 60-something-year-old guy. And John Randall, who this guy has to be one of the most generous, like, former professional athletes I've ever met. John Randall, the way he interacts with fans, just gave every single fan, like, all of him, which was so cool. I don't know, man, when you meet these people, and Dan, you've had the chance to meet a couple, like, you know, big-time people where you think, like, okay, pinch me. Like, I can't believe I'm hanging out with these people. And you worry sometimes. It's like, I don't want and then Pat Williams, too, the Williams wall. I mean, these guys, you're like, but they all were so nice. And don't you worry? You're like, oh,
well,
they
because
say, don't meet your heroes.
They do. And there's reason that they do say that.
Yes.
There's people that you meet that you're like, oh, that wasn't the interaction I was hoping for. But it's a credit to folks, you know, when I judge people based on how they treat people they don't have to be nice to.
Same.
And so many of these folks don't have to spend time and just, I'm not a ton of time, but just a little bit to acknowledge your presence and acknowledge what you're doing there, whatever it is. And when you see that intention in them, it's a big time credit to them in my mind.
It was cool. It was really cool just to see. And I was messaging John Randall this morning, telling him, I'm like, you know, John, you don't get to see. We text more than people know.
I mean, you're going to drop your phone on your foot, dropping that name? Come on now.
Well, I just wanted to tell him that, like, he didn't see the people after they left him. And that's sort of where I was. And the way that he treated people, you could just see them light up afterwards. And I want him to know that. I'm like, I really respect that because I watch how people treat other people. And it was really cool. Man, the Vikings stunk, though. Oh, boy. Woo! I mean, US Bank Stadium, the Vikings put on a show. Like, the 15 minutes before kickoff, It is like a freaking Hollywood movie unfolding in front of your eyes.
Unfortunately, that was the best part of the game yesterday.
Oh, and I have the video that last drive where we were coming back with 50 seconds on the clock. I got a video of that touchdown pass, and I turned to my wife as we were celebrating, and I said, a lot of time left.
Too much time.
Too much time. And sure enough, we'll talk with Dave Schwartz about that in just about 20 minutes. But first, let's do the DRush Hour news headline.
The headlines you might have missed without missing a beat. This is your fast pass through the biggest and most impactful stories of the day. Welcome to the DRush Hour headlines, starting with the lead.
And our lead story, you heard from Laura Oakes at the top of the hour. UCare shutting down in 2026 in Medica, taking about 300,000 employees. UCare has been one of the biggest providers of healthcare coverage for seniors and for low-income Minnesotans, and for those of you who are on the open marketplace, on the MNsure marketplace, buying your own insurance. Next year, a bunch of financial losses kind of stacked up for them. And it shows how quickly UCare, which mostly lives in government programs, has just ended up in a really tough spot. Money. It's all about money. UCare will wind down in 2026. It's still early. We don't know exactly how this plan's closing is going to impact pricing, right? So this is a lot of the government-funded insurance coverage. And when that is your main business, our other big health insurance companies in Minnesota are diversified beyond government coverage, government subsidized. 1,400 people work at UCare. Medica says it's going to need some of these employees, right? Because that huge enrollment influx will be a big deal for Medica. But UCare has been around for more than 40 years. They had peak profits and record enrollment just a few years ago. So questions, of course, about the leadership. What was going on at UCare that things turned south so quickly? But the chief executive of UCare is not joining Medica. So, I mean, read into that what you will. Next up in the lead, the FAA is lifting flight restrictions. That does not mean that things are back rolling again, but it does mean that those restrictions, which have been, we were at 6% flight restrictions. The ultimate thought was that it was going to go to like 10 or 12%. But the FAA, because the government is open again, I guess it was 4% at first. MSP was one of the 40 major airports. You may have felt it if you were flying. Your flight was canceled, or your inbound flight, or your whatever. But it's being rolled back now that, obviously FAA flight attendants are back on the job. I have no ill will towards any flight attendant who said, I'm not getting paid, I'm not going to work. But I do have a lot of gratitude for all of those flight attendants and TSA agents who kept working. I mean, what commitment, right? Just so we could get to wherever we have to go. We didn't have to fly. Like, they could have shut the whole thing down, honestly. But just sort of tremendous commitment to the job and patriotism, I think, by those folks who kept going to work. It's going to take a little bit to untangle all this, but the hope is that we will be, by next week, when we get to the really thick of the Thanksgiving travel season. That is next week, right? Thanksgiving? Yeah. That it'll be back to at least close to normal. Next, some new data talking about ranked choice voting. And did it work in Minneapolis or did it not? The data indicates that nearly 1 in 5 voters ranked Jacob Fry and nobody else, which got our Blois Olson, political analyst, host of Morning Take, with us for a special drive time take, asking, what are we even doing here? Blois, why do you think ranked choice voting didn't really work?
Ranked choice voter advocates always said that it would take away a binary choice, that other candidates could run, there'd be a more cooperative campaign, it would reduce negative campaigning, it would boost turnout, and that you could have multiple choices. Well, it's clear that the voters this year voted mostly for Jacob Fry, and they didn't vote for anyone else. So they wanted a binary choice. The other set of voters voted for some version of three people whose campaign theme was only about not ranking Fry or voting against Fry. So the idea that this experiment was going to create non-binary choices, the voters decided. They made it a binary choice. The campaigns decided success was going to be based on a binary choice, and therefore ranked choice voting has essentially not worked the way they advocated for it when they put it into effect.
It is interesting if you add up all of the ballots that only made one choice. Jacob Fry got 26,500, but Omar Fateh also got about 6,500 votes that were just him, no one else rang. So you're looking at 33,000 votes that only made one choice anyway.
Exactly. I've always said it's confusing. I think that proves that it's somewhat confusing, or the voters are just like, I want to vote for one person. That's the way I'm used to it. That's the way this should work. And that's the way they behave. And so
do you think it's just that the flaw was that these three guys linked up instead of every individual candidate running as an individual candidate, and then the voters might be more inclined to make a first choice, a second choice, a third choice that makes sense based on who they want to win?
I don't. And here's why. Because I think the decision in Minneapolis was clear. I think voters in Minneapolis said, I want to do this. And they voted that way. And I don't think people in this environment, in these dynamics, are particularly interested in feel-good ideas that might not win, but they still want to vote for. I mean, we could have had that discussion, but the voters didn't want to have that discussion. And certainly the candidates weren't having that discussion. And so, so you need one of those two audiences to decide that's what they want to do. And neither audience decided to do that. The other thing is that ranked choice advocates didn't weigh in and say, hey, this isn't the way this is supposed to work. Hey, you guys should have more thoughtful discussion. They just keep trumpeting it as a solution in search of a problem. And the problem doesn't exist. They said they wanted to try it. They said that it should be up to local cities. And I'm here saying we've tried it. It's not working. Let's end this ridiculous experiment.
But if you had, and Blois Olson is with us, if you had, say, these top four candidates for Minneapolis mayor without ranked choice, you could have ended up in a scenario where the winner of the election had about 30% of the vote only. Do you see a problem with that?
Well, in 2014, there was a Republican primary, 4 competitive candidates. One candidate, Jeff Johnson, won that primary with 30% of the vote. So guess what? You can have that with a primary. And then you'd have the binary decision that the voters have said they've wanted. I mean, we had a two-way race this year between Omar Fateh and Jacob Fry.
For all intents and purposes,
call it a two-way race.
Yeah, it's true. Numbers don't lie.
Math. You know from your home life that math usually wins the argument.
Yeah. That's what happens when you're married to a banker. I mean, the arguments do not. Yeah, they don't go my way. I understand it. Blois Olson with the drive time take. We appreciate it. Thanks, Blois.
Talk to you later.
That is the lead. In just a minute, we go in depth in the DeRusha Hour news headlines. A former House Majority Leader calls the cops on his business partner. What happened? Ryan Winkler joins us to talk about doing the right thing even when he knew that it might potentially hurt his business. We'll talk about that next.
This is Drive Time with DeRusha on News Talk 830 WCCO.
You're listening to Leaf Filter Radio, and the guru of gutter protection himself, Chris Cunahan, is here to take your most pressing leaf-related questions and bring you a special Black Friday offer.
Hey, everybody, Chris here. I understand we have Ron on the line. Ron, where are you calling from?
Uh-oh. Ron, are you calling from a ladder?
Well,
I was. I wanted to ask Chris what I need to do to get my gutters ready to have leaf filter installed.
Oh, Ron, you don't have to do anything. A Leaf Filter Trusted Pro will come out and clean out your gutters, realign and seal your gutters, and install a Leaf Filter, America's #1 gutter protection system.
So I didn't need to get on this ladder?
Ron, Leaf Filter Trusted Pros are in your neighborhood and ready to help. Just visit leaffilter.com/radio to schedule your free gutter inspection and get up to 30% off.
Thank goodness. What was that site?
That's leaffilter.com/radio. And now, as a special Black Friday offer, you can get a free gutter inspection plus up to 35% off. This is our best offer of the season. Unlock it now at leaffilter.com/radio. See representative for warranty details.
I'm John Taft, Vice Chairman of Baird. For over 100 years, Baird's people and expertise have made a difference in the financial advice and services we provide. Our experts on 3 continents combine diverse backgrounds and perspectives to meet your needs. Being nationally recognized as a great place to work helps Baird attract the best people in our industry to advise you. Experience a different kind of financial partnership. Discover the Baird difference. Visit BairdTwinCities.com.
Cars for Kids. KARS Cars for Kids. 1-877 Cars for Kids. Donate your car today. 1-877 Cars for Kids. KARS Cars for Kids. 1-877 Cars for Kids. Donate your car today.
Donate your car today at carsforkids.org. That's cars with a K. Your car, running or not, can be picked up as soon as the next day. You'll get a maximum tax deduction and a vacation voucher.
1-877 Cars for Kids. KARS Cars for Kids. 1-877 Cars for Kids. Donate your car today.
Now accepting donations of land, homes, buildings, or any kind of real estate.
We all hear the radio ads about the IRS. They tell you to be afraid, to be scared, and they try to frighten you into calling. I'm not here to do that. Tax Relief Advocates is different. TRA is here to tell you that if you owe money to the IRS, whether it's $5,000, $50,000, or $500,000, we have a solution. It doesn't matter if you're sitting in your car, at work, or with your kids. No matter where you are, call now. 800-575-9834. Don't lose hope. TRA can eliminate or reduce what you owe to the IRS. Generous programs are now available that can give you a fresh start. Our passion is taxes and helping individuals fix their IRS problems. We have over 1,000 5-star reviews on Google and an A+ with the Better Business Bureau. You don't need to be afraid of the IRS any longer. End your tax nightmare today by visiting us online at TRA.com or call 800-575-9834. That's 800-575-9834. Tax Relief Advocates. Real solutions for real people.
Drive Time with DeRusha.
Most of the things that I float on this show is nonsense I've tried to float elsewhere before.
On News Talk 830 WCCO.
DeRush, our news headlines continuing with an in-depth conversation with the former Minnesota House Majority Leader, Ryan Winkler, who is running for re-election again in this cycle. Since he has left the Minnesota House, he has been running a THC drink company called Crooked Beverage Company, and charges just out alleging that one of his business partners, Christian Schenk, 46 years old, Eden Prairie guy, was stealing tens of thousands of dollars from the business's account. We wanted to visit with Ryan Winkler and learn a little bit more about kind of his decision process and what happened here, because Ryan has called his former business partner a menace. He's with us on the John Schuster Coldwell Banker Hotline. How did this all get started, Ryan?
We learned about what he was doing very early, within the first few months of operating as a company. You know, we were 5 business partners who got together and started this up. One of them turned out to be a fraudster who had enough legitimate business background and good relationships with people to be able to hide his questionable behavior. But when we started to see money disappear and evasive behavior, we did our own investigation, dug up what he was really doing, and turned it over to law enforcement. And that was back in the first half of 2023. So we've been recovering and succeeding as a company since then. And we're happy to see him finally be charged for what he did.
He was charged with stealing about $76,000. Do you think that's the extent of it? Or is that, I mean, that's a pretty big chunk, especially when you're just starting a new business.
That is all he was able to steal from us. And if we were not paying attention, it probably would have been more over time. What he has done with others before or since is kind of speculative, but I know the character. I don't think that we are the only victims, and we were determined to put a stop to it. We wanted to put this guy in jail so he was not able to keep harming people.
Part of the way that you discovered this, and we're talking with Ryan Winkler, is this letter that you received purportedly from Christian Shank's attorney, and it was from a rather prominent attorney. And you were suspicious of this, right?
As soon as I saw the letter, which was directed to one of my business partners, it was obvious to me that it was not from a lawyer, just based on the way it was written. So I was suspicious, and I happened to know the attorney that he was purporting to be, Chris Maddle, and I reached out to him and I said, "Chris, this isn't you." And he said, "Correct." And then we compared notes on our mutual experience with Christian Shank, and concluded that this guy was committing crimes, and we wanted to make that stop.
Yeah, and Chris Maddle told the Star Tribune that it was oddly flattering that someone wanted to use my name. He said he just wished that he would do it better. There are lessons here for entrepreneurs who are looking, often when you're looking to start up a business, you're trying to gather capital, gather investors. Are there things you learned from this process?
Well, sure. I mean, for one thing, it's, I know as an intellectual matter that a good fraudster is capable of mixing fact and fiction together in a way that's very compelling and always has a good story and a good explanation. So if, my advice to others starting a business, if you're meeting somebody for the first time and thinking about doing something together, check their court history, not just criminal, but their civil litigation history, ask around. We did that, and he had enough people to vouch for him that it seemed like maybe he'd just gone through a rough patch at a certain point in time in the past. So you just have to be careful. This is not the only business that has had embezzlement and theft happening. Plenty of people experience it. And the other thing I would say is don't just let it continue. Turn it over to the authorities. It's easier to avoid it, maybe to move on with your business and just try to put it behind you. But these people have to be stopped.
Yeah. Was that a discussion where you say, look, we're involved in the THC business. It's, we're trying to make something that gets, I don't know, sometimes there's a little wink, wink, chuckle, chuckle about this business. Is it a professional business or not? By drawing attention to it, it does sort of lead into some of the stereotypes about THC and cannabis businesses.
Well, sure. And, we don't expect that we're going to see any of that money come back to us. We don't really get anything out of it. And here we are talking about it on the radio. It's not necessarily a good thing for our company,
right,
but it has to stop. It has to stop.
No, that's right. You have to stand up for this stuff because it would be easier where you run the corporate reputation kind of analysis and say, is it worth it? And it's always worth it to make sure people are held accountable for this sort of thing.
Yeah. And I mean, just, he lives a nice life, has a nice house, lives better than most people do. And it's all based on fraud, apparently. That just is not acceptable to me. I wanted to put a stop to it.
He, of course, denies it. He'll have his day in court. But, I think it's worth having that inflection point and saying, like, you know what? No matter the potential risk to your business, it is the right thing to stand up and say, like, all right, we got to get law enforcement involved and get them in there early.
Yes. And law enforcement stepped up, took it very seriously. And we were happy to, it was a good process with them. We weren't, dragged through the coals by them or left hanging. And so, we live in a community, a business community. We have to be able to have some level of trust. And if we're not weeding out bad actors, we all suffer for it.
I mean, the business is called Crooked Beverage Company. So, I mean, You sort of brought it on yourself, Ryan. I'm just saying.
Yeah, well, fair enough.
You didn't bring that upon yourself, but that is the name of the business. And now we'll let the court process play it out. Ryan, I appreciate the time. Thank you.
Sure. Thanks for having me on.
And Ryan Winkler is running for election once again. So, to get out there and talk about this, I think is pretty interesting. Pretty good. And obviously, this guy has a right to make his defense. And, if there's an update, we'll update you. Let's break. No defense for the Minnesota Vikings. So what a weekend. Oh, my goodness. This game was so close, as always. And then it all went south. Well, where are we on the new young quarterback? How patient are you guys? How patient is Dave Schwartz? He's next.
This is Drive Time with DeRusha on News Talk 830 WCCO.
A dry winter can cause cracked, itchy skin and sore throats. Getting a whole home humidifier from Metro Heating and Cooling can help you get in the comfort zone on price and performance. Visit metroheating.com.
Metro Heating and Cooling.
The holidays will be here soon.
And whether you've been coming to Thielen Meats and Piers for generations
or looking to start a new family tradition,
you'll want to put us on your holiday wish list.
We're the #1 meat market in Minnesota.
We add those melt-in-your-mouth moments to your holiday celebration.
High-quality meats that keep our customers coming back for more.
That's why we've become a holiday tradition for so many folks.
No meals complete without Thielen Meats
of Piers.
Tomorrow, you can help change a life.
Last winter, I was homeless and I'd lost all hope. My idea of a place to get warm and get a meal was to get drunk enough to get put into detox. And one day, a couple people from Union Gospel Mission came over and held the AA class there. Yeah, the meals helped me to get back on my feet and have a solid foundation. It's one less thing I have to worry about. I can concentrate on getting myself better, getting myself back into to be employable, to actually have plans for a future and hope for a future. I didn't have that before.
$2.82 provides one meal and care at Union Gospel Mission Twin Cities. How many meals and care can you provide? Please donate online at ugmtc.org/give, because hope begins with a meal.
We all hear the radio ads about the IRS. They tell you to be afraid, to be scared, and they try to frighten you into calling. I'm not here to do that. Tax Relief Advocates is different. TRA is here to tell you that if you owe money to the IRS, whether it's $5,000, $50,000, or $500,000, we have a solution. It doesn't matter if you're sitting in your car, at work, or with your kids. No matter where you are, call now. 800-575-9834. Don't lose hope. TRA can eliminate or reduce what you owe to the IRS. Generous programs are now available that can give you a fresh start. Our passion is taxes and helping individuals fix their IRS problems. We have over 1,000 5-star reviews on Google and an A+ with the Better Business Bureau. You don't need to be afraid of the IRS any longer. End your tax nightmare today by visiting us online at tra.com or call 800-575-9834. That's 800-575-9834. Tax Relief Advocates. Real solutions for real people.
Time to find out how it's moving on the roads and what's moving in via the skies. This is traffic and weather together on CCO, starting with a check of the commute.
Things a bit slow for Highway 10 westbound yet. Egret heading up to Hanson Boulevard. 36 slowing in both directions between Hamlin and 35W. If you're going to be traveling along 100, you're going to find some slowdowns between Excelsior Boulevard and 394. 169 slows both directions between Highway 55 and Highway 7. Jerry Peterson, News Talk 830 WCCO.
Jason DeRusha here. The Canopy Group represents 16 different insurance companies, not just one. They give you options. Each year, they'll review your program so you don't have to, making sure you get the best coverage at the best price. Do like I did. Go to thecanopygroup.com.
Now, the latest conditions and the outlook for the next few days with your CCO forecast.
Forecast brought to you by the Canopy Group. Here is Chief Meteorologist Chris Schaefer.
A little snow talk. We'll have some light rain showers moving in later on tonight. It will cool enough that we'll see a transition over to snow. 32 the overnight low. Best chance of seeing an inch or two of Slushy accumulation to be across southern Minnesota, perhaps reaching as close as the southern suburbs. Decreasing clouds during the day tomorrow with a high of 40. That'll keep the roads clear. 45 on Wednesday, maybe a few rain showers Thursday with a high up near 50.
Right now, it is 40 degrees on CCO.
You're listening to Drive Time with DeRusha. Video streaming live on YouTube and always on your radio at News Talk 830 WCCO. Now let's get a Monday rundown on the weekend in sports, where Dave brings the analysis and Jason brings the snacks.
Get your popcorn ready.
Time for some fun talking ball and other stuff with Dave Schwartz on Drive Time with DeRusha.
All right, Dave Schwartz joins us on the phone today. And Dave, I was at the Minnesota Vikings game yesterday.
Mm-hmm. And in person, some of those J.J. McCarthy passes looked even worse than they look like on television. It was rough.
If the head coach after the game is going to openly talk about how much more they had to rush the ball, and I think someone used the quote, it's about pitching and catching. That's not a great thing. That is not a great indicator of what's going on. Well out of reach. A couple of them were so far gone and people were wide open. Now there were a few drops. Jordan Addison had, I think, one or two that he probably would like to have back. In the end, McCarthy drives him down, but it's an issue. Like this is an issue now where inaccuracy and timing is off, and some of that is being a rookie. Even some of the better quarterbacks, and people don't remember. We never remember what the early years were like. We only remember the great years. But if you think about some of the greatest quarterbacks of our times, I think about Peyton Manning, Brett Favre, they were very unsuccessful early on in their career. And I'm not saying that J.J. McCarthy is going to be that. I'm just saying that this isn't entirely new for a quarterback to play poorly early on and then maybe make something.
Well, you sort of expect it. You expect. I think I personally have looked at this season as like I'm not that worried about if the Vikings make the playoffs. I just want to see progress, and it's a little concerning. And again, like a 6-game sample, I'm not ready to freak out about it yet. But I'm getting interested in freaking out about it.
Yeah, I was going to say you're in the minority because there's lots of freaking out going on
and
right
look,
now.
you don't expect fans to be reasonable in this. And when's the last time that we've really done a full-on rookie quarterback project in Minnesota? It's been a long
It was full-on project was either Teddy Bridgewater or Christian Ponder, and neither one of those went well.
No. It's hard. We're in a win-now environment in the NFL, and it's not as much as you want to preach patience. It is difficult to look at a game like Sunday that was very winnable. And the Bears quarterback can scramble, but he didn't have a great game either. The Bears offense wasn't lighting it up. So it was a very winnable game with a mediocre quarterback, but we had a bad quarterback.
Yeah. And it's concerning. They were drafted. They're the same draft year, but even though, like you said, Caleb was amazing, he certainly looked like he was, let's just say, more comfortable with what was going on in the offense.
He did, but his results, what were his results? Nothing. He's still, you know what I mean?
Nothing.
Like, really?
Right.
That the Bears were in a position to be beaten by a quarterback who had 74 offensive passing yards in the first half. And with, even those 6 misses, J.J. McCarthy's probably, if those are better throws, right? Like those are drops, but a couple of those were on the receiver, but some are like maybe a better pass wouldn't have been an issue.
Yeah. Would we even be talking about this like that? I mean, imagine if that kickoff return after the touchdown doesn't go as well as it does, and then they're able to kick this giant field goal. Then the narrative is, well, J.J. McCarthy's got some work to do, but the Vikings were still able to pull it out.
With their backs against the wall, he did it. Now that drive, and that drive wasn't anything spectacular, but it was efficient, right? Like he made the short, open passes and did a fine job.
And what I take away from it is still, despite all of the adversity he faced in the game, he was able to pull it together enough to put that drive, to have that drive. And that's the positive that you take out of it, is the fact that even in a bad day, he was able to come back and put them in a chance to win. And again, if special teams does their job, Vikings win that game, and it's a completely different narrative today.
Isn't that true? And I was even thinking about that in the moment where I'm like, all right, the special teams didn't lose this game. It was lost earlier with all the missed opportunities. And also, like, the special teams lost the game. Like, if they had kicked that ball out of the end zone, like, then at least the Bears have to go 50 or 60 yards, you know?
Yep. Yeah, and it's just, those are the little things that it's the little mistakes. It's never won. And although, you know, the quarterback position, and I think I heard Tom Brady say this yesterday, the quarterback position, you're always going to take all of the praise and all of the blame. And that's
why you make the money.
And yep, that's why you get that money. That's why that's why it is. And unfortunately, or fortunately, you know, everyone's going to point back to J.J. McCarthy and the fact that these passes are, and even in the wins that they've had the last couple of weeks, there have been moments of his passes where you look at it and you think, boy, that is way off. That is not where it needed to be. And so this has, even in wins, this has become a theme. So maybe, just maybe, it's the best thing that can happen, because now it'll force them, you know, you don't get this whitewash by a win. You got to go back and watch this tape and figure out what happened.
Yeah. Dave Schwartz is with us. The Vikings playoff chances, according to The Athletic, are 2%. I mean,
is it that high?
Yeah, there's a chance. I mean, the Vikings are proud. I heard on a sports talk station today they were already doing analysis of what it would mean if the Vikings come in last in their division and then they get a last place schedule. So I'm like, oh boy, if you've lost Paul Allen already, planning out next year's schedule, that's not great.
Well, and you look at the way the North is. I mean, it's open, and the Vikings been having the year they had last year, this year. They'd be running away with it. They'd be sitting guys the last couple of weeks.
It's true. The Wild, your Minnesota Wild, and Dave, a proud employee on the business side of the Minnesota Wild, they seem to have righted the ship a little bit. It was a rough start of the season, but that win over the Golden Knights was nice.
Yeah, this homestand has been outstanding.
Yep.
You've got Philip Gustafson, who's played well, Jesper Wallstedt, who's got 2 shutouts in a row. I shouldn't even say the word, but I'll say it anyway. I was at the game last night with my son. We went to watch, and it was just awesome and exciting. And to watch the way that the overtime went, because overtime, especially against the Golden Knights, hasn't always been great. But you know, they make a rush down, a beautiful pass. Gustafson's out of the net, but Matt Boldy comes in and lifts the stick of the forward right in the spot to keep from them getting the goal. And they go back down the other way, and Kirill Kaprizov scores. And it's just nice to be on the other end of that for once, because I feel like there's been so many times this year and in the past where 3 seconds left, 2 seconds left, it's another team that. I mean, it's happened twice with the Sharks this year, where Macklin Celebrini, came in and wins it. So it was nice.
It was a beautiful. On the other end. It was a beauty too. I mean, that Kirill, that shot was not an easy goal.
It is the highest level of difficulty of shot. Anyone who's played hockey or watched a lot of it understands the difficulty of a one-time shot while you're moving kind of backwards to time that perfectly. These guys make it look so good, but it's so hard. And he does it with such a level of excellence that is not common. And so they did it, and he had a couple of different options, but then chances in the overtime. But to get it right there and to get it over Vegas, and now Carolina's on Wednesday, to finish his homestand strong would be really good.
Dave Schwartz is with us. Since we're talking about ice, the John Schuster, the Schusty curling era, comes to an end. I mean, John Schuster's 43. Curling, I don't feel like curling is necessarily a young man's sport, but kind of a bummer to see the dream of a sixth time in the Olympics is over.
And he's fought for years. He's fought off a lot of really good contenders. in his teams. And John is, I had the pleasure of getting to know John covering the Olympics. He's an outstanding human being and an incredible competitor. We saw it in 2018 when the team came back from nowhere to come back and win the gold. And so I did not get a chance to see all of his comments, but I heard that he was nothing but gracious in defeat. And it is the end of an era.
It is, right?
For those of you that are Olympic fans and love Olympic curling like I do, there's nothing quite like watching John Schuster and his team. They are really incredible. So it's ushered now into a new era. Maybe, who knows? Maybe they'll make another run in 4 years, and who knows? They'll make another run later. But at least for now, for this cycle, they'll sit back and watch. And it is sad. It's an end of an era, but the youth come in now.
Yes, yeah. And, curling is not a large community, right? So, like, these guys all know each other, the team that beat him. And it is interesting to me. So, like, if you're John Schuster, legend, you're a legend of curling. But, like, what do you do with that? Like, what's he do? I know he's a co-owner of, like, the Duluth FC soccer team. And I guess you're like a public speaker. You just go tell stories, right? You probably can make a lot of money, like, talking to insurance companies.
Yeah. He's done a lot of speaking, and he's done a lot of speaking. He's done a lot of media. And, like when I met John for the first time in 2014, he didn't love media. He didn't love doing media. Yeah. He just got, he
that's
got
absurd.
good at
You're
it.
You're a curler. Like, I mean, what else are you supposed to do? I'm above talking to the media.
Story regularly.
Yeah, no, he's very good.
He's very good, and I'm sure he'll continue to speak. And maybe I always talk to him about, whether they might make a movie at some point about the 2018 run, because that has Disney movie written all over it. And I did ask him if I could be like reporter number 3 in one of the scenes. If you want to come in with me, I'll see if there's a reporter number 4 spot too.
Right, like unseen public address announcer. I would be.
I like that.
I'd be honored to do that.
Yeah.
It is. It's just an interesting thing that I mean, Olympic athletes are fascinating. There are some who are marquee, big time, can still like go do the stars on ice kind of bit for the figure skating. But most Olympic athletes have to move on and find another life. And I do find that sort of fascinating.
It is interesting, right? Like the Olympic athletes are, and I think that's what draws us to them so much is that they're just regular people who have an extraordinary skill in a sport. But once the 4-year cycle is over, they go back to whatever it is they're doing.
And you have to give up everything for the training. You have to give up everything. And then ultimately you have to rebuild something, which is interesting.
And curling has gotten so much more popular in the United States in the past 10 to 15 years. And a lot of it is because of John and his teammates. Yeah. So I'm sure that if there will be no end to going around to curling clubs around the country to do some speaking. And I'm sure that he'll have plenty of opportunities if he wants to.
Very good. All right. Good stuff. Thanks for campaigning for me for the movie. I appreciate that.
Well, you can be my photographer. You can be my videographer.
That's fine. I'll carry your tripod. I mean, no problem. Yeah. Yeah.
There's a liner.
There, indeed. Dave Schwartz. Thanks, Dave. Drive Time back in just a minute here on CCO.
You're listening to Drive Time with DeRusha. Video streaming live on YouTube and always on your radio at News Talk 830 WCCO.
Last week, I was at Tureen Dermatology for the full body skin checkup. Guess who's going this week? Alyssa. It's Jason. It is a family affair. We love Tureen Dermatology. We love Dr. Mohiba Tureen. She is our dermatologist. She should be yours. With 9 clinics all over the Twin Cities, you are never more than 3 weeks away from an appointment. That is unheard of. Do you have a mark or a mole that has changed shape or size or color and you've been ignoring it? Hoping, like most of us do, that it's just going to go away. Doesn't work. Go see the experts. I saw Dr. Tureen last week. They did biopsy a little mark that I thought was a pimple. And she thought deserved a closer look. And that's why you go to the experts, because I do not mess around when it comes to skin cancer. I have a family history of it. You probably do too. Minnesota is in the top 3 states of new melanoma diagnosis. So go to Tureen Dermatology. They are the experts. TAREEN dermatology.com.
You could think you found your dream home online. The kitchen island looks perfect for your inner chef. The backyard, a paradise for your green thumb. And that extra room, hello walk-in closet. But here's the twist. The lot next door just got rezoned for years of construction. And this sound, yeah, you're going to be hearing a lot of that. Don't let your dream home turn into a nightmare. Work with the expertise and ethical training of a Realtor, here to guide and help protect you from the surprises you didn't see coming. Realtors are members of the National Association of Realtors, right by you.
Okay, I have to tell you, I was just looking on eBay where I go for all kinds of things I love, and there it was.
That hologram trading card. One of the rarest. The last one I needed for my set. Shiny like the
designer handbag of my dreams. One of a kind. eBay had it, and now everyone's asking, ooh, where'd you get your
windshield wipers? eBay has all the parts that fit my car. No more annoying, just beautiful.
Millions of finds, each with a story. eBay. Things people love.
Why wait for Give to the Max Day? You can help end veteran homelessness right now. At MacV, they've been serving Minnesota veterans for more than 30 years. And today, your gift will be doubled thanks to Matching Partners Oil Air products. That means twice the impact, helping veterans secure homes, jobs, and health care. Go to mac-v.org and donate now. That's mac-v.org for your neighbor, for your neighborhood, for Minnesota.
Attention all dog owners. If you have ever listened to the radio or TV for any length of time, you've probably heard of America's #1 dog supplement, Rough Greens. Greetings, naturopathic Dr. Dennis Black, Amazon best-selling author and founder of Rough Greens here. And if your dog suffers from bad breath, itchy skin, licking paws, joint pain, or low energy, the truth is their food is probably to blame. You see, all commercial dog food is dead food. That's why I created Rough Greens. One daily scoop gives your pup the live vitamins, omega oils, probiotics, and enzymes that will bring their food back to life. Don't believe me? Let your dog try it before you buy it. I'll send you a free Jumpstart trial bag, risk-free. You just cover the shipping. Go to roughgreens.com. That's RUFFgreens.com. Use discount code NEWS. Don't wait. Give your dog the gift of vibrant health. Order now. It'll be at your house in a few days. Go to roughgreens.com. That's RUFFgreens.com. Discount code NEWS for your free Jumpstart trial bag today. Rough Green. We make any dog food better.
Hi, I'm Nancy Cartwright. You may know me better as the voice of Bart Simpson. On Simpsons Declassified, we're diving into the mysteries that keep the Simpsons forever young. Have you ever wondered how the Simpsons regularly predicts future events? Who better to ask than the show's creators, performers, and writers? The celebrity guests. Be sure to follow and listen to Simpsons Declassified wherever you get your podcasts.
Time to find out how it's moving on the roads and what's moving in via the skies. This is traffic and weather together on CCO, starting with a check of the commute.
So some flowing for 694 westbound Matterhorn heading out to Highway 252. Going to be traveling 394 eastbound. Got some flowing there. Work Parkway into downtown Minneapolis. The crosstown seeing some flowing both directions between Penn and Highway 100. Jerry Peterson, News Talk 830 WCCO.
Returning by popular demand, it's Irving Berlin's White Christmas at Chanhassen Dinner Theaters. Based on the classic film, this smash hit musical is a singing, dancing celebration of the magic of the holidays. Get your tickets now for White Christmas. Visit chanhassendt.com.
Now, the latest conditions and the outlook for the next few days with your CCO forecast.
CCO forecast brought to you by Chanhassen Dinner Theater. Get the perfect gift at chanhassendt.com. All right, we're watching to see if we get some snow tonight. Let's take a look at the live radar, and it does show rain down in the Windham, headed towards New Ulm, Albert Lee. It's raining. That rain will move into the South Metro. Overnight should change to snow as the temperatures drop and hit our low of 32. Tomorrow, decreasing clouds, high of 40. Wednesday, 45. Good luck if you're hoping for some snow tonight. Right now, it is 40 degrees on CCO.
This is News Talk 830 WCCO. Broadcasting live from the 2026 IIHF World Junior Championship Studio. Single game tickets are on sale now at worldjuniorsmn26.com.
And you had a bit of an incident.
I did.
It was a toilet-related incident.
It was.
And I don't know how much you want to share, but I think it's a cautionary tale.
Well, I just, I had a decision to make.
Yep.
And I
I've been
still,
there.
to this point, I'm not sure if I made the right call or not. But had to use the bathroom after the show last Friday. I had these magnetic collar stays. I don't know if you're,
kind of keeps the collar in
Yeah.
place.
But one of the magnets had come loose unbeknownst to me.
Sure.
And so as number one is occurring, I hear a click clink
Yeah.
of
The said magnet.
said magnet going in,
Was there
and-
like a sploosh?
No, not really. It was
Okay.
more hitting the side and sliding.
All right.
So then I have a decision to make.
Mm-hmm.
Is this now retrievable?
Right.
Or am I just gonna?
Because you have a mix of toilet water and Dan Cook
And number
water.
one, yeah. So what are you gonna do?
I would want to retrieve it. I would be nervous
Well,
about flushing a magnet down the toilet.
Right. I wasn't so much nervous about, if it blows up this building, that's just great for us. But
fair.
But there's only so
yeah.
many of these. How do you get a
It
replacement?
kind of
for this
grows.
thing?
Like we
That's
don't
just
have
it.
we don't have full rubber gloves available here.
So the decision was somewhat made for me in that then I stepped away. I thought I'd get like a paper towel, see if you could scoop it
So
out.
you
or
were
something.
going. You were going.
I was
in.
going to try and get it.
Kind of gross.
Kind of gross, but I was going to
it's your
try.
own business, so that's your
And
business.
and as I stepped away, it flushed on its own because it's an automatic flusher. But the thing was, the magnet stayed. It didn't get flushed into the system.
At this point, like, is your fly up? Because, like, I'm visualizing like a Keystone Cop sort of scenario.
Right, that could have been really, really bad. But no, everything
All
there
right.
was fine.
So we were tucked in and good
Yeah.
to go.
Long story short, I was able to retrieve it and just had to wash everything with bleach about 15 times, and I was fine.
I mean, are you going to think about that the next time you put that collar stay in, though?
Oh, for sure.
Yeah. I mean, this is maybe a listener participation topic for
Yeah.
another time.
Another time, not tomorrow.
Favorite thing you've fished out of the toilet? Text Henry. He'll be real confused.
Financial advice should be holistic and tailored to your life. I'm Ryan Ant.